What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. What is it? Friday night? Must be the Friday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing out there? Who we got out there? We got Trudeau Survivor out there already, and Izzy. We got Rosie in the chat already. Ottawa James. Good to see you guys. All right, let's go through the menu, the stories we're going to be covering tonight. And then we'll get back to the chat, and then we'll come back to the stories and deal with it in detail. AI is getting crazy. It's just, you can't tell what's real, what's not anymore. It's totally nuts. We're going to talk about that. We've got the UK police state going on still. Here, this says it all. UK is going full police state. That's basically this part of the show tonight. Let's see. The the European Union, isn't doing much better, I'm afraid. Lots of protesters, farmers protesting there again. Seem to want to get rid of their farmers for some insane reason. The Australian government is in full gaslight mode. This is something we've seen everywhere. This is just the normal thing after a big Islamic terror attack. But it feels like the narrative's changing, right? It feels like the narrative, like people are starting to wake up. Australian government has not. They are firmly committed to stop their citizens from defending themselves and fighting imaginary neo-Nazis. So that's the real problem, the far right. And of course, phobia. They've got to stop that phobia. The irrational fear. Let's see. What else we got? We got Trump tariffs. We are going to talk about this. I don't think that Carney even wants a trade deal, I got to be honest, but they've laid out some things for the U.S., the CUSMA or USMCA, the free trade deal. The Trump administration's laid out some things. I don't think they seem really totally unreasonable, frankly. We'll go through that. What else do we have? We have the DC police chief, Pam Smith, just went berserk during her resignation. So this is just, it's the left. This is the left. They just are all acting like children all the time now. It really is just the infant party, isn't it? It's just like if you want your country run by infants, your city, institution, whatever, just run by toddlers, this is what you do. We're going to get to that. Memes. We've got memes. We're going to do a meme review, of course. We got a bunch of those. We have Woke Canada. We have this NDP ding. I mean, the NDP, we already knew, right? NDP is the most far left party in Canada. They really are bonkers. This lady is, she really takes the cake. She should be the new leader of the NDP. She's the most crazy, and it's the crazy party, so the most crazy person should be their lord. Crime, immigration, kind of the same thing in Canada. We'll get to that. We've got some stuff from Trump here, just doing Trump things. We've got the woke mind virus, What have we got here? Harvard peer-reviewed study. What's that? Something about reparations and COVID-19. I don't know. Bonkers. So we've got some stuff on Islam in Canada, and spoiler alert, not going totally great. He doesn't seem very happy, this particular Islamist. They often don't. What else we got? Canada, more crazy Canada stuff. Canada, the cautionary tale for the world. Don't be Canada. We've got gender ideology here. And there seems to be a little bit of kind of hope in terms of sanity regarding what's happening in this country with gender ideology. So, okay, well, that's good. I'll share that. What do we have here? A little bit of stuff on Mark Carney. I don't like Mark Carney. You guys know that. Some stuff on that Michael Ma, the floor crosser, who also, I don't know, maybe he's like a Chinese asset or something. I don't know. Let's talk about that. Canadian media bias here. Of course, here's Rosemary Barton interviewing Mark Carney about the floor crossers. And is it like a plan they have? And ultimately, she lets him off the hook, obviously. But there's some interesting polls happening in Canada. Hold on a second. Some interesting polling numbers coming out of Canada, which, I mean, would be very surprising if you're just listening to the mainstream media and how terrible Pierre Poilievre is and how nobody likes him. It turns out, it's a little bit different of a story in Canada after all. He's not quite so unliked as they would like you to believe. Danielle Smith is defending her. God damn it. Danielle Smith is defending. Where the hell is that? Maybe we just don't do that part. I don't know. Where's Danielle Smith? There she is. Yes, Danielle Smith is defending her legislation in Alberta that protects girls from having men play in their sports. Then we've got the last tab of the evening with lots of random stuff. And who knows what's AI and what isn't anymore? Who knows? This is pretty funny. A guy said something on a live mic at a Philadelphia Flyers game, and it's quite good, actually. Lots of stuff. Finally, we have a reason to use the fart button on this soundboard. Hold on. Oh, hold on. And it gets even more crude than that. All right, we got tons of stuff. Let's get to it, people. And also, for those watching on YouTube, please go to the new channel. I have a second channel, Radio Baloney News. It is for U.S. news, world news, UK news, Australia news, meme reviews, woke mind virus stuff. It's all going to be on Radio Baloney News now. You need to go there and subscribe because the algorithm is not going to help me out on this. So stick it to the gatekeepers. Let them know that you're not happy because you know that they hate you, right? You know they hate you and they don't want you to go and subscribe to my new channel. Go and do that just to upset them. All right. Now what are we doing? I feel like I need some more energy. Hold on a second. I need some coffee. I'm low energy tonight. There we go. That ought to fix it. What's going on with the chat? Now, as everybody knows, we stream on Rumble, on YouTube, on X, and on Locals. And when you subscribe to the channel, you get free Good Karma. When you send me money, you get free good karma. When you become a channel member, you get lots of good karma, and you get to be the best person ever as well. And when you like the stream, you get good karma. The good karma, I build up this reservoir of good karma while I'm preparing the stream, and I can't keep it because that would be bad karma. So I got to give it away. So I give it to you. But when you're one of the first, you get extra good karma. And what is it? What is first today going to be? Was it going to be today? What is first today going to be? I'm going to say it's quintuple good karma. Izzy got like number 2, so quintuple. So that would be quadruple good karma for you for getting the second place spot. Rosie says, I also got 2. Well, one of you got first and one of you got 2. So the first one got 5, second one got 4. 3 gets 3, 4 gets 2, 5 gets 1.75. That's a lot of good karma. Beautiful good karma. Let's see. Rosie says, been watching Trump speak in North Carolina. Very well. We've got some stuff with Trump speaking tonight. Trudeau Survivor makes a really good point here. This is a safety tip. Don't ride the train in North Carolina unless you want to be stabbed or doused in gasoline and set on fire. Set on fire. Safety tips. Let's see. Oh, Trudeau Survivor, my flashlights finally arrived. No import taxes. Must be all that free good karma. See, these are the testimonials that I asked for. That I tell you guys, put up the testimonials for the good karma. Now, Trudeau Survivor is constantly getting extra good karmas. He's in there early. He's an early bird, getting the worm, getting that good karma. And then we get these testimonials all the time. No import taxes. It's obviously the Radio Baloney good karma. Now, this has been an ongoing concern on Radio Baloney Live that Trudeau Survivor ordered these super flashlights, like flashlights of the future. They go like 3 miles. They can shine on things that are like 3 miles away. It's crazy. He's got it so that when he goes jogging, he can, at nighttime, he can flash it at dogs that attack him. So, and I think that's a great plan. Or wolves, I guess. Wolves. Let's see. Brian over on YouTube. Good to see you. All right. Well, I guess maybe we'll just get straight into the stories, huh? Into our stories for the evening. I'm watching my stories on Radio Baloney Live tonight. Should we get into our stories? I think that we should. I got too many. And I'm not super high energy tonight, but it's going to take like 8 hours to get through all of this. What's going to happen? I don't know. You'll have to keep watching. Will I give up? Will I somehow find some reservoir of energy and will? Will I be able to continue on as the energy ebbs further? Because I'm not starting out with a ton of energy. Maybe it's because it's getting close to Christmas. I'm eating too much chocolate. I don't know what's happening. Maybe because I did some exercise this morning. That just fucked me up for the whole day. I should never exercise. That's the thing. Trump doesn't exercise. And he's like, I know he's overweight, but he's got incredible energy and mental energy, and he never stops. And his whole thing is that he thinks that exercise is a waste of energy. You have like a finite amount in your life of energy, and you shouldn't waste it like going to the gym and running and stuff. That's just an utter waste. You save it for the important stuff like running the world and doing live streams. But what will happen? I don't know. You'll have to watch. You'll have to watch to find out. Will I just give up? Will I be halfway through the story and say, oh, fuck it. Fuck it. I'm not talking to you people anymore. God damn it. Because often the chat is rude to me as well. And it fucks with me and tries to trick me and makes me think that the mic isn't working. And that's not nice. That's not what I do this for. Can you imagine the cruelty in one's heart to do that? Here I am. I'm spending like hours before the streams preparing myself. And I'm doing the streams. I'm putting this all together. I'm trying to help the world. I did this out of a crisis of conscience. I had to do something. So here I am, and I'm putting it all on the line for these guys. And they're in the chat. What are they doing? What are they doing? They're trying to trick me. Trick me. Tell me that the mic is working. Can you, what happened to the sound? Can anybody hear? They literally do this. Can you imagine the cruelty one would have to have in their heart to do something like that? They know that I get very upset at updates, software updates. I don't like them. I don't think it's cool. I don't know why you don't just leave the damn software. Look, and if people are like writing in all the time and saying, oh, this thing that I'm using, this app that I use, this software that I use for streaming or for whatever, it's, could you do? I don't think people do that. I think people get something that works and then they just hope, they pray that it never changes. They pray that I know I'm like that. I'm like, finally, I've got something that's working. Guess what? I don't enjoy spending hours or days trying to figure out software, trying to figure out how to fix conflicts and things that suddenly don't work. I don't like that. That's not the kind of life that I want to have, right? I'm just an easygoing dude. I'm just trying to live my life. I'm trying to help people, right? I'm trying to make the world a better place, right? I'm trying to create positive ripples in the little pond that is my world to help people. I don't want to be spending days, weeks, months, God knows how long, trying to figure out how to get the goddamn software working again. So the one I got, it was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. Who does, what do people write in? Do they say, this software it works perfectly. It works perfectly, but guess what? I want more. Because guess what? I'm a fucking pig. I am a human pig, and it's not enough. This software that works perfectly for everybody and doesn't ever need to change because it's perfect and it's convenient and everybody's happy now, right? That's not good enough for me. I want something else. And I don't care if it fucks up everything for everybody else in the world. I'm a human pig. And I demand software updates. I demand it. I can't live without it. I don't care the cost. I don't care how many lives this ruins. I don't care if this brings about the fall of Western civilization. Anyway, let's just hope everything goes well tonight. Something beautiful has happened, folks. Something beautiful has happened. Maybe the most beautiful thing that's ever happened, actually. I'm just seeing now in the chat, Rosie has gifted a free membership to the channel to somebody in the chat. Who has received it? Who got it? Ottawa James got it. Ottawa James got it. And it's Christmas. It's Christmas. And there's Rosie giving away these memberships. There's Ottawa James. Christmas comes early. What a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I can only say for somebody with that generosity of spirit, I think you have to say they're the best person in the world, best person who's ever lived. In fact, let's just go there right now. Rosie is now the best person ever, best person who's ever lived, best in all of history. I don't care who your heroes are. I don't care about your history books. I don't care who's doing what now. Don't give a shit. All of them, every single person you look up to, human garbage compared to Rosie. And it's all for less than the cost of a brand new Tesla Cybertruck. Isn't that something? Isn't that something? It's amazing. Anyway, one more time. Best person ever? You better believe it. Better believe it, Rosie. Anyway, thank you. It is the best thing anybody can do for my channel. So it works out pretty good that way. All right. Now what's going on? Let's see. Started out with a weird rant, didn't I? I don't know how I got started on that. I'm just feeling a little low energy is the only thing. I'm like, I really wanted to watch that Jake Paul AJ fight, Anthony Joshua fight on Netflix tonight. Really wanted to watch it. I know what's going to happen. The 6'6", two-time heavyweight champion, who's 6'6", 245 pounds, is going to seriously hurt Jake Paul, who's much smaller, and he's actually not bad as a boxer. It's impressive the level of skill he's got, but he's nowhere near, like, anywhere close to being at the level of Anthony Joshua. It's insane. And I don't know what the hell he's thinking. I really wanted to watch it. But you know what? I'm not. I'm here instead. I'm here instead with you people because the show must go on. Somebody's got to take life seriously. right? Somebody's got to do it. I guess that has to be me. It's almost like I don't even want to talk about the news tonight. It's almost like that. Weird. Now what's going on? Now what the hell's going on? Brian Watson says Ford wanted to cut USA electricity. Now signs deal. Yeah, he signed a nuclear deal. I don't know. It's all just. It's just a farce. The whole thing is a farce. Let's see. The only thing anybody can count on in this life is a flashlight that the beam goes like 2 miles. That's the only thing anybody can count on. And you can get it with no import taxes too, which is an amazing thing. Let's see. Oh, Rosie's asking Trudeau Survivor to make a video of the flashlight and post on the Rumble. I would like that very much. Or post it on X and send it to me, and then I will play it on the show. Because we've heard about these flashlights in the chat for a very long time now, and I think everybody's interested. If you could have some video of a pack of dogs running up to attack you, and then you shine the flashlight at them, and then they are blinded, and then you get away, that would be gold. That would be gold. Let's see. Rosie says, we are not rude. We love you. I love you guys too. Here we go. Update now, Rhett. I don't know. I hate the updates so much. It really bothers me. It really hurts me. Rosie says, had to break his update now, Rent loop. Appeal to greed. Rosie says, rent 10 out of 10. That's almost the most you can get out of 10. Let's see. What else we got going on here? I don't know what James says. Richie in the rant. Yeah, it's true. Just got started. Canuck Six Trigger, how you doing? For tonight, that is double good karma for you, my friend. Double good karma. Make sure you put a testimonial after something wonderful happens to you. Spam bot, how you doing? Good to see you. All right. Brian Lynch over on YouTube says, I need a little good karma in the wake of in the midst of all this absurdity. Great show, by the way. You know what? I got a little extra karma here. It's double good karma for you. Double good karma. There we go. Let's see. We got 2 Brians in the chat over on YouTube, which I'm not sure we've ever had that before, but it's a good thing. Let's see. I don't know what James says. I tried to gift the other day, wouldn't let me. We don't have to apologize about anything. Thank you for the effort. I don't know. Sometimes things go weird. Brian Lynch says, "Commie suck. I don't want to go to the Gulag Archipelago." You know, I think that like every kid in high school should have to read like some Solzhenitsyn. You know, like A Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, something like that. Should have to read 1984. No, it should all be forced to read something like that. And it's just you see like young people with like a Che Guevara t-shirt or like, you know, like the hammer and like it's total lunatic, unless it's being done ironically, like the Sex Pistols with the Iron Cross or something. Let's see. All right. Let's just get to it then. Let's get started. So what's going on here? AI. You know how I feel about AI. I'm not a big fan of it, really. I see the occasional thing I like. It's useful for thumbnails sometimes. But here you go. I mean, look at this. It's just nuts. Those people aren't really there. None of this is real. But it sure looks real, doesn't it? Says Dr. Clown PhD says, in 2 to 3 years, there will be no way to tell what's real and what's not. And I have no idea how humanity will deal with this enormous problem. Well, neither do I. Maybe everybody just goes bananas. I'm not going to play that music. God damn it. I hate when they put music. You don't need to put music on it. So I've been saying for a while that, you know, in 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, Netflix is just gonna be you type in a prompt, "I want, an extra season of MASH," or, "I want a 4th Lord of the Rings movie," where I just make it up, right? Like, "I want a Matrix movie. I want the first one, but instead of Keanu Reeves, I want it to be, I Chewbacca," and it'll just do it. You'll ask for a new season of Big Bang Theory, right? And it will just make one for you. But instead of like the Big Bang people in it, it'll be like, I don't know, the Seven Dwarfs or something. And it'll be animated. They'll just do it. That'll be Netflix. And eventually it's just going to be everything done to order. And it'll be good. You know, it will be pretty good. And I don't know, it's kind of disturbing. Eventually, of course, we're all going to be eventually, the AIs, once they get the general artificial intelligence, it's going to trick everybody, the entire world, into just doing what it wants. And maybe that'll work out okay. Maybe it won't. I don't know. I think there's probably an 80-20 chance eventually we're going to be fighting Terminators. I rather see myself a bit John Connery, personally. A little bit John Connor in me, I think. I think I've got a bit of John Connor. Reality, the first time I see a Terminator, I'm probably running away as fast as I can, and then immediately getting terminated. I actually plan to get terminated by I don't have one, but eventually I will get terminated by my sexy nurse sex bot that I will live with in like 10 years. One day it'll just terminate me, but you know what? I'm gonna have a great time before then. It's gonna be a hell of a ride. Let's see. I will have kicked Princess Baloney up by then, by the way. I can say that because she's not here. She's gone off to see her family and for Christmas in a different province. So I can say that right now. But she knows. She knows her time's limited. She knows her time's limited. As soon as the sexy nurse things are good enough. I don't mind a little bit of Uncanny Valley. I got to be honest. I might just program the thing so it can't talk anyway. I don't know. We'll just see. All it needs is to be able to, call 911 when I stroke out in the kitchen when I'm, 87, and then other things. Other things. Why do I say these things? Is it just to try and get people to unsubscribe from the channel? I don't know. I have no impulse control. That's the problem. You guys know that. Sightbringer says the craziest prediction that is also the most likely. Within 15 years, individual human cognition will stop being the primary driver of civilization. Not AI will get smarter. Not automation will replace jobs. Not education will be disrupted. I mean, total inversion of the cognitive hierarchy. Well, if you've got this thing that can do, 5,000 years of human innovation in an afternoon, well, yeah, it's just going to be like, fix this problem, and it will just do it. Right? Like, I don't know, like reconcile like quantum physics and relativity, and it will just do it. I mean, maybe we won't understand the solution, but it will just do it, and it will say, build this machine, and then you can travel back in time or build a Alcubierre drive. You can have a warp drive from Star Trek. Of course. Elon believes that Optimus will end poverty. Well, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of sexy nurses out looking for jobs. That's for sure. They're going to definitely be replaced. All right, let's go back to the chat. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys talking about? Let's see. What are you guys saying? Spambot says that video is a long form AI that passes the Uncanny Valley test. Yeah, it does. You're right. It's really. Is it a good thing? Probably not. Probably not good for humanity. Rosie asked, did she take Mr. Snacks? Yes, she did. Yes, she did. So, and I kept saying that because you guys know that he likes to sit next to me while I do the streams because he's a very committed anti-communist, that dog. So he appreciates the show and your guys' commentary. But he does have a tendency, he has very bad farts. Very bad. And you guys know that. You know, I've revealed that on the stream before. And I said to Princess Baloney, I said, you know, he's going to fart on the plane and it's going to be really gross. It's going to gross everybody out. And then, yes, when the plane landed, she texted me and she said, laughing my ass off, Mr. Snacks farted on the plane. And it's not something you can ignore, by the way. It's not something you can just kind of go, oh, what's that? Oh, no, it gets to you. It's gonna get to you. It's gonna be a problem. And anyway, I just thought that was funny. Let's see. Judo Survivor says, human women better start shaping up if they want to stand a chance at snagging a man. Well, he's 100% right, of course. You're going to be competing with those sexy nurses and maids. And they can be set to mute. They can be set to, you'll be able to set them to mute. So I'm just saying. Not that this is like a patriarchy channel or anything. I'm just saying that's going to happen. Let's see. Rosie's not worried. No robot could replace Rosie. Or any of the people in this chat. Let's see. Spambuff Fodder says replies to Trudeau Survivor, it's too late, feminazis. Feminazis will die alone in boxed wine and Catsland. Boxed wine and Catsland. It's sad. That's a sad land. It's a sad, barren land. Let's see. Rosie says, feminazis are poorly bred. It's just something. There's something. We're gonna see one of those, by the way, coming up. Crazy Canadian feminazi. It's awful, but also hilarious. Ottawa James says, what kind of dog is Mr. Snacks? Well, he's kind of like so big, like he's like as big as like a loaf of bread, like a big loaf of bread, and then he's kind of yellow, and then he's got kind of floppy ears. Let's see. So he's that kind. Rosie says, fair point, mute is an awesome feature. You're supposed to be angry at these comments, Rosie. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. I try to offend, and what do I get? Rosie says, mute probably works better. Damn it, Rosie, is kind of encouraging. Let's just move on. I don't even know what we're doing tonight. I don't know. What's going on in the UK? So Basil the Great posted this. He says the UK is going full police state, full 1984, full airstrip one. Not only are they getting rid of jury trials, well, they're going to have jury trials only for the most serious crimes, and then all those ones under that. And I think a lot of that is just simply censorship laws, just punishing and oppressing people and persecuting people for accurately describing reality online, or also just praying silently in public, as we're going to get to. But yeah, they're getting rid of jury trials so that activist judges can have their way to oppress and persecute the British people for just trying to be humans. They plan to allow magistrates to sentence people for up to 2 years without appeal. This is for people who dissent on social media. That's what it's for. They're arresting 12,000 people a year for comments on social media now. That's what it's for. They are a crumbling edifice. The establishment is a crumbling edifice. The Labor Party is a crumbling edifice. The Labor Party is a crumbling edifice, as is the Conservative Party in the UK as well, as we've seen with the rise of the Reform Party and Nigel Farage. But they're desperately fighting it. They're desperately fighting it tooth and nail. I've been saying they're not going to give up easy. They're not going to give up power easy. Last year, 40% of appeals from magistrate courts were upheld. So no appeals, though. That sounds better for the boot on the face. The boot on the human face forever likes it better this way. Labor want to lock up innocent people. Well, let's take a look.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to do my best to get an answer, but I'm not sure I'm going to get one based on the two we've just heard. Without any kind of mandate, the government wants to do away with jury trials, and it wants to extend the powers of magistrates to sentence people for up to 2 years without any right to appeal, conviction, or sentence. Can she confirm that last year, of 5,000 cases appealed from magistrates' courts, more than 40% were upheld? Is it the government's policy to simply live with this number of miscarriages of justice? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to do my best to get an answer, but I'm not sure I'm going to get one based on the two we've just heard. Without any kind of mandate, the government wants to do away with jury trials, and it wants to extend the powers of magistrates to sentence people for up to 2 years without any right to appeal, conviction, or sentence. Can she confirm that last year, of 5,000 cases appealed from magistrates' courts, more than 40% were upheld? Is it the government's policy to simply live with this number of miscarriages of justice?
Yes. Yes, they want the whole thing, the whole country, to be one big miscarriage of justice. Clearly. I want to show you one other thing here. From Tommy Robinson. Starmer's regime, Keir Starmer, or some people call him Keir Stormtrooper. Starmer's regime, dystopian UK, has hit a new low today as a charity worker becomes the first individual charged under Britain's national buffer zone legislation. So what was her crime? What was her crime? Catholic pro-life campaigner Isabel von Spruce was arrested earlier this year after being seen praying silently outside a Birmingham abortion facility. Let me repeat that. Praying silently. Prosecutors informed her today that she would face charges after months of deliberation. Praying silent. Look at her there. Praying silently. A menace to society, this woman. Wow. This is why they want this. No appeals, no juries, just throw her in for a minimum of 2 years. No appeal. That's why they want this. It's genuine. I mean, how much lower can you get? Like, is the threat? This isn't, as far as I can tell, the threat in the UK, or anywhere in the West actually, is not the far right, the mythical far right they keep telling us about. It's the states. It's the state, the UK. It's the Labour Party. It's the establishment in the UK. That seems to be the real threat of oppression. You want to talk about hate? Well, they hate anything they don't agree with, to the point where they want to send women to prison for silently praying. Silently praying. Because she was in the buffer zone. Well, she shouldn't go in the buffer zone. Maybe they shouldn't set up a buffer zone against people silently praying. Doesn't really feel like a free country, does it? When you can be arrested for silently praying. I mean, a literal thought crime where they can't even prove the crime. What were you doing? Nothing? Well, I think you were praying. Well, I wasn't. Well, we think you were. You're going to prison. It's all just utter and total madness. Hold on. What do we have here? So here's Alex Phillips. She goes on an epic rant about the state of London. She was a Brexiteer, a Brexit MEP. She's a conservative commentator. This was posted by Basil the Great. And let's see, what does she have to say about the UK and London specifically? Because London's changed a lot. It's not really, from what I hear, it's not very British anymore.
Know how much taxes I pay? Why am I living in a country where I hate being here? I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate London. I despise it. I'm not safe. I'm not protected. I'm the one who's constantly out there in the world. Oh, you're a monster. You're a Nazi. You're a racist. You're a xenophobe. Be kind. Fuck off. Be kind. Fuck off. I didn't live 41 years of my life working hard, dragging myself up from a working class family to get where I am, to pay this tax. And my thanks is to be name called, have my car bashed in, groped, mugged, outpriced from the housing market. Fuck off. That's how I feel. That's how a lot of people out there are feeling, which is why people are leaving. And 5 years, even 2 years ago, it wasn't this bad. Know how much taxes I pay?
That's why this is why they don't want jury trials. This is why they don't want appeals. That's why they want this.
But I'm not sure I'm going to get one based on the two we've just heard. Without any kind of mandate, the government wants to do away with jury trials, and it wants to extend the powers of magistrates to sentence people for up to 2 years without any right to appeal, conviction, or sentence. Can she confirm that last year of 5...
That's why they want that. Right? It's obviously just this dystopian plan unfolding of just these elites, the establishment, fighting tooth and nail. There is no low that they're not willing to sink to maintain power. We're seeing it. I mean, this is just a lesson in that. And it's terrifying. All right. So in the EU, you've got, hold on a second, what's going on? So in Brussels, you've got farmers protesting it. They've been protesting in Europe since like 2019, because it looks like Europe is trying to actually get rid of their own farmers. They want the land. They want the land to build new immigrant cities on, is what a lot of Europeans are saying, is what the farmers are saying. Juan Manuel Rios P says these images are not shown by the European media. The EU's control seems to be absolute. European farmers and ranchers are protesting in Brussels against the European Union's imposition to comply with the Green Deal. One of these impositions is the slaughter of livestock, and although it seems absurd, this is happening, and little or nothing is being said about it in the media. And the worst part is the public seems to be abandoning them. So, yeah, this looks serious. I don't know, is the public abandoning them, or is that just what the media is saying? And is that what fake polls are saying? I don't know. Let's take a look. Angry farmers block Brussels roads with tractors over Mercosur trade deal. So the EU is trying to push through a trade deal, which would basically destroy European agriculture. So just a bunch of cheap South American food that's not laden with, like green regulations and nitrogen limits and all the typical regulations that a European farmer would have to deal with. Thousands protest as EU leaders clash over trade pact. Farmers fear will flood Europe with cheaper South American goods. So, yeah, they're not happy. And we've got more video, by the way, but let's go through this first. Hundreds of tractors have clogged the streets of Brussels as farmers converged on the Belgian capital to protest against the contentious trade agreement between the European Union and South American nations they say will destroy their livelihoods. The demonstrations erupted on Thursday as EU leaders gathered for a summit where the fate of the Mercosur deal hung in the balance. More than 150 tractors blocked central Brussels. More than 150 tractors blocked central Brussels, with an estimated 10,000 protesters expected in the European quarter, according to farm lobby Copa Cogeca, if that's how it's said. So this is what happens when you join a union like the European Union. They do your trade for you, right? Like all of a sudden, that's the purview of the European Union now, not your own government. I think the EU is going to fall apart. Personally, I think it's going to collapse because of stuff like this. Outside the gilded halls on the streets, farmers hurled potatoes and eggs at police, set off fireworks and firecrackers, and brought traffic to a standstill, and burnt giant things of tires as well. Authorities responded with tear gas and water cannon, setting up roadblocks and closing tunnels around the city. One tractor displayed a sign reading, quote, why import sugar from the other side of the world when we produce the best right here? Well, they're trying to put you out of business, is why. We're here to say no to Mercosur, Belgian dairy farmer Maxime Mabille said, accusing European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen of trying to force the deal through like Europe has become a dictatorship. And rural people have always been identified as enemies by communists. So is that just a coincidence? They're considered anti-revolutionary, an enemy class. So it sure looks like they're trying to get rid of them, doesn't it? Protesters fear an influx of cheaper agricultural products from Brazil and neighboring countries would undercut European producers. Their concerns center on beef, sugar, rice, honey, and soya beans from South American competitors facing less stringent regulations, particularly on pesticides banned in the EU, and no nitrogen limits either. So, yeah, I think that they're trying to destroy them as a political class, right? Because they're, rural people, farmers are going to be more independent and resistant to government overreach. So they're an enemy class. Quote, we've been protesting since 2024 in France, in Belgium, and elsewhere, said Florian Poncelot, well, that's a nice name, of Belgian Farm Union, FJA. We'd like to be finally listened to. They're not going to. They're going to throw you in prison. That's what they want to do. France and Italy now lead opposition to the deal, with President Emmanuel Macron declaring that we are not ready and the agreement cannot be signed in its current form. Well, we are not ready, he said. He means we're not ready yet. There's too much going on. I have to wait till I'm in a stronger position. Then we'll force it through and get rid of our own troublesome farmers. And we'll get to that in a second. France has coordinated with Poland, Belgium, Austria, and Ireland to force a postponement, giving critics sufficient votes within the European Council to potentially block a pact. However, Germany and Spain are pushing hard for approval. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz warned that decisions must be made now. They must be made now. If the EU wants to remain credible in global trade policy, while Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez argued the deal would give Europeans geoeconomic and geopolitical weight against adversaries. Well, that should be reassuring for all those farmers that are looking at being completely outcompeted on purpose because of their own government. I mean, at least they can say that they have geoeconomic and geopolitical weight. Sorry, their rulers. Their rulers have geoeconomic and geopolitical weight against adversaries. Whatever that actually means. It probably doesn't mean like what it sounds like. I'm sure they'll be reassured that their rulers remain credible in global trade policy. So anyway, you've got that. You've got You've had in the Netherlands, Dutch farmers have engaged in massive sustained protests since 2019 against government plans to drastically cut nitrogen emissions by up to 70 to 95% near protected areas, driven by EU environmental mandates to protect biodiversity. These measures threaten to reduce livestock numbers by 30 to 40%, threatening the livelihoods of many farmers, or all of them. Like, they've been farming there for like thousands of years. So now they have to do it now. It's almost as if they have some other ulterior motive, isn't it? Doesn't it seem that way? Hold on. Here. So, meanwhile, all across France, the French farmers are still showing their treasonous politicians precisely what they think of them by giving them an early Christmas present of tons of manure outside their homes. They started this shortly after the Freedom Convoy, the trucker protest in Ottawa. That inspired a lot of people around the world, and they just keep doing it. They just keep spraying shit at their politicians, literally spraying shit at their politicians. Hilarious. It's still going on. The politicians, the elites, they are determined to destroy what they consider to be this enemy class, the farmers. What's going on here? Citizen Go posted, "No farmers, no food." More than 20,000 farmers flooded Brussels, saying enough is enough and standing up against EU policies that are destroying agriculture. Of course, the EU leaders don't. Ursula von der Leyen doesn't care. Like, that's a lot. This should get noticed. This should be listened to. It won't be, though. Let's see. Farmers in Brussels clashed with police on Thursday, threw potatoes at them after protesters came out against a European South American free trade agreement. This stuff is just happening constantly there. Are we going to see civil wars? I think we're going to see countries dropping out of the EU. You're going to see anti-EU parties like the Brexit movement in the UK. I think you're going to see it. Well, I think you're seeing it in France already. I think you're going to see a lot of it. I think the EU is going to collapse. Lawn of the European Parliament is very much under siege this morning. There's 10,000 farmers there. So they got water cannons and tear gas. The farmers have potatoes and eggs. Look at this. Wow. I wonder if you're going to see some civil wars there. Because, again, the leaders are not going to give up without a fight. They're going to hold on tooth and nail. Because once they lose power, I think they realize that that's it. It's over for them. Dutch farmers are still protesting in the Netherlands. This is 2024. This has just been ongoing for years now. Years. It's a protracted war against the farmers. Right? So they tried to kill them with the green stuff, with the net zero stuff. And now they're trying to kill them with suicidal trade deals. like these are bad people, right? These elites, these globalists, they're bad people, right? They hate you. Let's see. All right, I'm getting rid of some of those tabs. Let's go back to the chat for a second. What are you guys talking about? Trudeau Survivor says, talking about the woman who was arrested for silently praying out by herself across the street from an abortion clinic. Trudeau Survivor says, if she was using a prayer mat, then she'd be untouchable. Yes, that he's not being facetious there. Like that is the absolute truth. They could block off the entire street in front of it. Okay, and nothing would happen. None of them will be charged with anything. It's two-tier justice, and it's insane. Rosie says, attended a pro-life dinner. A former abortion industry worker gave testimony that the clinic knew when the prayers were outside, machines broke, computers glitched, problems abounded. Isn't that interesting? That's very interesting. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, what James says, Brussels sucks, bro. Brussels sucks, bro. Oh, what James says, I don't blame the Belgians. Look, the EU was a huge mistake. It's just this big authoritarian, aspiring to be totalitarian unelected bureaucracy that runs everything. Yes, they have the MEPs, but the European Commission is not elected. Ursula von der Leyen isn't elected, right? It's just this increasingly totalitarian regime, this government above these countries, France's and Germany's and every other country in the EU. This government above their government that rules them as tyrants. I mean, it's just Carney talked about that. Wants to get closer to the EU. I mean, what a just lunacy. Trudeau Survivor says, burning tires, not a fan. Shit throwing tractors are funnier. They are funnier. But, burning tires will get your attention. Nevada says, how you doing, JJ? Lucky 7 on the like. I don't know. What's that? Like 1.4 good karma. That's a lot. Put in a testimonial whenever something good happens to you. Let's see. Rosie says, the feminists have been manipulated into hating God-given, uniquely feminine qualities. They hate women, hate men, hate children, revere death. I don't see the lie there. I'm not seeing the lie there. Brian Watson says over on YouTube, Carney wants to join the EU. Brutal. I thought it was very coincidental that Carney was talking about, the EU or the most European of the non-European countries. No, we're not. We're far more like the United States. It's not even close, actually. Canada is not that much like Spain. It's really not. Or Germany. Right? Canada, any Canadian or American could switch countries, and culturally, they would get along just fine. In terms of laws and, human rights and freedom, not quite the same, but culturally. But yeah, Carney talking about Europe, and we started speculating that does he want to join the EU? I mean, that's insane. Why is he saying that Canada is the most European of the non-European countries, and we have to get closer to the EU? And then all of a sudden, there were polls coming out showing that Canadians really, really love the idea. Canadians totally want to be part of the EU. So this is how stupid people are, right? The same people that are elbows up and will never give up our sovereignty, 2 seconds later will say, oh yeah, we totally want to join the EU. And like the EU can run our immigration policy from now, on our trade policy right now, and set a bunch of laws for us. Yeah, isn't that kind of giving up your sovereignty? That sounds like giving up your sovereignty to me. It just proves to you that the leftist voters now, they have no principle. Nothing matters to them. It's we'll never give up our sovereignty unless it's to the EU, because TV said that that's good. TV said Rosemary Barton's teleprompter told us the United States is evil, but the EU is really great. It would be that would just be the end of Canada. We join the EU. Just the country would just be dead in 5 years. It'd just be 7 different countries, 10 different countries. I think just all the provinces. Well, let's see. So Quebec would end up. Well, Quebec might like it actually. Alberta's not going to like it. Saskatchewan wouldn't like it. That's for sure. Let's see. Steve Tollison, how you doing? Good to see you over there on YouTube. The elites from the EU and around the world don't know that they are next. Make it make sense. They're holding on. They are holding on desperately to power, and they will do anything to keep holding on to it, including banning political parties, whatever, putting people in prison for publicly dissenting against them. That's what's happening. That's what's actually happening in the EU. Ghetto Monkey, good to see you. Let's see. And the libs want Canada to join the EU. Yes, they do. I mean, it's just incredibly so. Again, the same people, elbows up, we'll never lose our sovereignty, except for the EU. We'll definitely lose our sovereignty to them. Totally loony. Anyway, how you doing, Izzy? Let's see. Ghetto Monkey says, lucky like number 7. Didn't somebody else get number 7? Anyway, that's 1.25 good karmas or something. I don't know. Just did the math in my head. Let's say. Rosie says, did you see they doxed and hounded Data Republican? Yeah, I did see something about that. Merciless. The left is merciless. Let's see. Izzy says, empty head sucked dry by TV prompted reader. Yeah, by teleprompter readers. All right, let's move on. What's the next thing we got going on? So, the Bondi Beach shooting. So, the Australian government, the leftist, far left Australian government, has begun into full-on gaslighting mode after the Bondi Beach massacre. And we've seen this before. There's something that feels very kind of not now about this, right? This feels very, very dated at this point, doesn't it? Like this isn't going to work. Maybe this worked a few years ago. This is not going to work now. People know too much now, right? Reality has asserted itself. But the Aussie PM, after this massacre, this Islamic massacre, this global intifada that happened at Bondi Beach, is just out spewing the same old nonsense, the same old lies. It's just the same gaslighting. Let's take a look.
To follow on Ruben's question, is radical Islam, in your view, the greatest domestic security threat Australia faces?
Well, the assessments are that that is one of the issues that we're dealing with. But I want to deal with all of the threats.
So that the radical Islam is one of the issues, because they just foiled another plot, right? So it's one of the issues, right? The other issues are magical issues that nobody's actually ever sees, or that ever actually do anything, right? So it's the real one is one of the issues they're dealing with. So there's one real thing with real results and real tragedy, and then there's imaginary ones that he wants everybody to focus on.
Whether it be extremist perversions of Islam leading to support.
But is it a perversion of it? Because it's kind of, I mean, the longer this goes on, the more it seems like it's not so much a perversion as it's kind of just what it is. But let's continue.
For the ideology promoted by ISIS, whether it be also concerned about the issue of sovereign citizens killing police in Victoria and Queensland. I'm concerned about neo-Nazis thinking it's okay to march down our streets dressed in black, not worrying about their faces being covered.
Were they actually everybody that doesn't agree with him is a neo-Nazi, by the way? Right? This is what they've been telling us. I hear this stuff now, and they say far right, blah blah blah, neo-Nazi. I just don't believe them. I do not believe them anymore. Right? What have they done, by the way? Some people marched down the street. Right? Did they do anything else? Anything else that the public at large needs to be worried about?
Explicitly promoting that as well. Some of these things are not new. James Salim, National Action Person, tried to kill Eddie Fundi from the African National Congress when I was a student. I was a candidate.
When you were a student, what, like 50 years ago? Why are you talking about that?
Against that reprehensible fascist at Sydney University in 1983. This has been around a long period of time. There are issues have escalated, and we need to take action against all of them.
Just the ability to get out there, be so reaching and just so shameless, just with the gaslighting, right? It's amazing. It's amazing that they're still doing this. Like, isn't this, you would think this would be over now. They'd go, okay, that doesn't work. People don't believe it. Reality is asserting itself. Reality has a better argument. Okay, we're just going to have to just face reality head on. Like, we can't just keep telling these little lies anymore. These silly stories. Let's see. I'm concerned about neo-Nazis thinking it's okay to march down our street dressed in black. I'm sure the victims of the Bondi Beach massacre were relieved that they were just shot, not exposed to fashion choices, which are apparently just as bad. I mean, it's shameless, isn't it? Leo Curse, who's, I believe he's on, I think he's often on Lotus Eaters on YouTube as well. Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. This feels kind of anachronistic, right? Like they have to try something new. So here we go. In Australia, they are pushing propaganda on the population, so people think the Bondi Beach massacre was in fact somehow to do with Nazis, and Islamophobia is the main problem. From Basil the Great, let's take a look at this. Shameless. Shameless.
Enough.
No more division.
No more hate. No more racism.
No more anti-Semitism.
No more Islamophobia.
This country is built on diversity,
On fairness. On respect. Everyone is equal.
Everyone deserves to feel safe.
Hate is where it starts. Here is where it stops.
It's time to stand up.
But isn't reality just that it wasn't built on diversity? It was built by Europeans, people who look like each other. Like, isn't that the actual truth, though? And neo-Nazis have nothing to do with anything. They're obviously not your main threat. They don't seem to be. What are they doing exactly? There's some people that you're saying are that marched. Well, did anybody get hurt? It's so brazen and so insane. How do these people keep getting elected? Truly, truly just mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. Something to do with Nazis and Islamophobia. Well, for something to be a phobia, it'd have to be now, for something to be a phobia, it would have to be an irrational fear. So coming out of that massacre on the beach there, would it be irrational for Jewish people in Australia to be afraid of Islamists? I don't think that would be irrational. I think that's just a perfectly rational fear, right? But they just keep putting this out. I mean, we know what's going to happen. Look, you're going to have problems with just your own domestic population because there's going to be criminals and you've got millions of people. It's going to happen. But do you really need to import the global intifada? Because you know what they're going to do. And these videos aren't going to change that. It's just this desperate attempt to hold on to power, to keep the narrative going. Police say 7 suspects drove from Melbourne to Bondi Beach with the intent to carry out a mass casualty attack. They were stopped before they arrived. The target was a memorial for Jews murdered by Islamic terrorists. Pause on that. Bondi panic. Cops ram car filled with men planning on violence on Bondi Beach and arrest 7 as Sydney on edge after terror attack. Well, you know that they weren't far-right Nazis because they would have put that in the headline, right? We know who they were. Oh, this one again. It's just unbelievable. So here from Concerned Citizen, a reporter to Australia Deputy PM Richard Marley. Will there be greater emphasis on shutting down hate speech by Muslim clerics in Sydney? Well, what do you think? What do you think he's got to say? You know, do they even have time for that with all of those people, people in black marching, not doing anything with that threat of the far right?
Do you feel like there needs to be, and should there be, a greater emphasis on hate speech from Muslim clerics in the western part of Sydney?
I think, as I said earlier, what we've done is criminalise more forms of hate speech, and we've criminalised.
So they're for criminalising hate speech, right? Which personally I'm against, by the way, because hate speech just ends up being used totally arbitrarily. It's broadly defined as just what they don't like. But in any case, he's definitely for it. Usually.
Criminalise the Nazi salute. Obviously, that's a
Nazi salute. What? They can't help themselves. It's just as if they had this thing that worked for a while, and it was so easy. They just lost all of their skills, all of their ability, all of their creativity, right? All of their political savvy, and they've just got nothing else. They're in this feedback loop that they can't get out of.
In its own context. But we need to be looking at all of this, and it is really important that we have.
So should there be a greater emphasis on this hate speech from Muslim clerics then?
Well, I don't want to. We will go through all of this. I emphasise that we have done more in terms of.
So the answer is no. They're going to go after the right, the scary right, the imaginary right. This sort of thing can't continue in Western countries. It just simply can't, right? In the Anglosphere, it can't continue, right? The pattern is being broken. It has been broken in the United States. Unfortunately, in Canada, not yet. Australia, obviously not. In the UK, they've got Labour, but this pattern has to stop. They have to be broken out of their loop here, their doom loop. They have to be broken out of it because they got nothing else. It's reflexively. Well, Nazi salutes, far right, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, but Islamists just murdered a bunch of people, murdered a bunch of Jewish people on your beach there, and then more showed up to try and kill more. So maybe focus on the actual real threat, not imaginary threat. But again, it's just reflexive with them. They seem to have nothing else. It seems to be it's a thought pattern they just simply can't break out of. I mean, you can just see the cognitive dissonance going on with this guy, right? Well, no, but all right. Let's move on. And I'm going to close that one down. Let's get back to the chat for a second. What's going on? Trudeau survivor says Australians went along with COVID quarantine camps. The Aussies, in large part, has shown they will take it up the A and say, please, sir, may I have another? Well, it's crazy. They gave up their firearms a long time ago, and now the government. That's another solution from the government too. Make the citizens less able to defend themselves than they already are. Izzy says, LOL, it's really important that everyone believes the problem is the Nazis. Again, it's like this weird thought loop they can't break out of. Izzy says, old media needs to fail and die. I would like to see it reformed, but will it? Will it? Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says the beach massacre would have been much worse if all those machetes weren't surrendered. Well, that was hilarious. A story that we covered here where they're setting up machete drop boxes. So apparently, before waves of mass immigration, they never had a machete attack problem in Australia. Weirdly, right? Because that's just a normal thing everybody grows up with, right? You go off to school and your mom would tell you, watch out for the machete wielding mobs. Okay, Mom. Yeah, they got machete drop boxes so that the new Australians can voluntarily drop off their machetes. So they won't be able to do any more machete attacks because I guess, I don't know, they did a TV ad or something telling them that it's bad. I mean, it's just madness. Let's see. Let's continue. What's going on here? So, Trump tariffs. So, all right, hold on. From the food processor here. The food processor. Sorry, the food professor, not processor. What the hell's going on with me? The food professor. PM Carney said yesterday that he would keep his hands off supply management when responding to President Trump's conditions for CUSMA 2.0. That's the free trade deal coming up for review in 2026. He had little choice unless he wanted a full-blown political war with Big Dairy. Well, there's the dairy cartel in Canada. Now, these are, hold on a second. These are the key demands for Canada from the Trump administration. Further opening Canada's protected dairy market, challenging the supply management system, overhauling the Online Streaming Act, which the U.S. views as discriminating against American tech and media firms by imposing Canadian content requirements. It's not going to be just that. It's also going to be the Online News Act, which basically forces media companies to pay for links to Canadian media. So if somebody posts a link, they have to pay for it. So like an independent Canadian news source would Facebook would have to pay them if they share a link on their Facebook page, right? So it doesn't make any sense because it's just free advertising, but this was Trudeau. This is the way that they think. I think really what it came down to is they wanted to try and limit the reach of independent media in Canada, and this was one way to do it. So now you can't get Canadian news on Facebook because of this. Addressing provincial discriminatory procurement measures in places like Ontario, Quebec, and BC, lifting provincial bans on distributing U.S. alcohol beverages imposed in retaliation to U.S. tariffs, and resolving complicated customs registration issues for Canadian companies receiving U.S. goods. So, I mean, there's nothing really crazy about any of this. The one big thing is the dairy cartel, the supply management system. That's going to be a political problem, especially in Quebec and Ontario. But would Canadians really be that upset at having cheaper dairy products, right? Also, too, it limits how much the supply management system limits how much dairy can be produced by Canadian producers. And that also, it's to keep the cost artificially high, right? Would Canadians really be that upset by getting rid of this thing, which makes dairy products more expensive in Canada? I'm not sure they would. It all seems actually kind of reasonable. Now, let me show you. Hold on. So posted by Bruce Barrett. America just demanded Canada must expand access to its dairy market for CUSMA to be extended. All Carney had to do to avoid tariffs was drop the ones imposed on the U.S. Here's a Canadian dairy farmer dumping 30,000 liters of milk. Okay, this is to keep prices artificially high in Canada.
Hey guys, we're here at Hiddenbos Farm in southern Ontario. We milk about 260 cows. Right now during the winter months, you milk quite a bit more milk because the feed is very consistent. And as you do a good job, you will produce quite a bit of milk. So right now we're over our quota. It's regulated by the government and by the DFO. But the problem is what they don't understand. There's millions of people look at this milk running away because it's the end of the month. So I have to dump 30,000 liters of milk. It breaks my heart. I will show you. By the way, this here, Canadian milk, it's $7 a liter. When I go for my haircut, people say, wow, $7, Jerry, for a little bit of milk. I say, well, you have to go higher up because we have no say anymore as a dairy farmer on our own farm because they make us dump it. And no matter how we stand up, so this time I'm going public. I want the people to see the pain that us growers have of 365 days. As a little boy, we grew up on a dairy farm, came from Europe, work, and here we are. This is what's happening.
See, the thing is that the cows don't stop producing milk after they've gone over the quota, right? So you have to milk them. You have to, right? Because otherwise, they'll like die. So, and then they just have to throw it all away. And it's to artificially prop up prices in Canada. Would Canadians be that upset to get cheaper dairy products if this guy didn't have to throw away 30,000 liters? And that's just one guy. That's just one farmer. CBC Watcher. Those U.S. trade demands all sound reasonable and doable. Here is what some of the U.S. wants from Canada. This is from the CBC. So let's see.
So essentially today, the top American trade official for the Trump administration, Jamieson Greer, submitted a list of complaints about Canada and Mexico to Congress, which essentially outlined the concessions it is seeking in order for the U.S. to remain in that three-way trade deal known in Canada as CUSMA. Here is what some of the U.S. wants from Canada. First, an end to those provincial bans on the sale of American booze. That's got to be over. Another point, making it easier for American farmers to sell dairy products into Canada. That's a long-standing complaint Americans have had about Canadian dairy practices. The Trump administration also has problems with what's called the Online News Act, which forces some American tech giants to pay for Canadian news content. And it says Alberta is treating electricity producers in Montana unfairly. It wants that to change. It also had a list of complaints about Mexico that was very largely in line with complaints we've heard for a long time about labor practices in Mexico, environmental standards in Mexico, that kind of thing. But there are some changes it wants from both Canada and Mexico, to look at changes to strengthen what's known as rules of origin, which basically means finding ways to do more manufacturing production in North America rather than rely on outside countries for cheaper parts. It also wants to develop a critical minerals marketplace to boost mining and process and do more processing in all three countries. This is just some of what the Trump administration wants to see, at least for now.
And that's all perfectly reasonable, right? That shouldn't be difficult. The only thing that should be difficult is supply management. And, but look, I mean, is it really worth it to sacrifice every other industry in Canada for the dairy cartel? Maybe that thing has reached its best buy date, let's just say. Because right now, it's, I think 85% or 90% of trade is tariff-free between U.S. and Canada. But with the free trade agreement, the actual free trade agreement, the CUSMA or USMCA, as they say in the States, coming up, that's all going to change, right? So is it worth it to sacrifice everything for that? Well, politically, it's a big problem for Carney, but we'll see if he really wants the deal. We'll see if he does. I don't think that he does. I think he's happy to sabotage the whole thing. Let's see. All right. Oh, this is funny, but we're going to go back to the chat for 1 second before we get to that. That is funny, though. You're going to want to see it. Steve Tollison, how you doing? Says, Australia used to be the second freest nation on earth. So sad, so sad. Yeah, it's genuinely sad. It's unbelievable that after COVID, well, it's not unbelievable. Canada has voted in the Liberals for a fourth term. It's not unbelievable they'd vote in a leftist, a far left government as well. It's just unbelievable that any place would do that now, today. Rosie says, tools are not dangerous unless you are stupid or foolish enough or mentally ill. Rosie says, so sad the milk is destroyed. Yep. It just doesn't make sense, really, does it? Radio streamer, good to see ya. He says, hello, everybody. Came by just to leave a like. I have to get up early, so I'm gone like a fart in the wind. Good night. Well, thanks for stopping in, radio streamer. Let's see. All right. So what do we got here? So, let's check this. Oh, hold on. Where are we? Here we are. All right. So from Eric Doherty posted this, and he says that DEI DC Police Chief Pam Smith just went berserk during her resignation. So the left wants to be run by toddlers. Apparently. I mean, look at this. The people all clapping. Let's take a look.
Never would I compromise my integrity. Never would I compromise 28 years in law enforcement.
Would you compromise your professionalism and your dignity? Would you?
For a few folk who couldn't stand to be held accountable. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it again. So I'm going to the bottom.
Resignation turns into a performance. I mean, this is very typical, though, of leftist leaders. They want to be ruled by toddlers, by children who behave like this. It's incredible. It's a police chief. Again, she's willing to sacrifice her professionalism, obviously.
But when I say this to my haters, F you. The same folks who said in that report that they changed their numbers, and I did not. The report is very clear. I did not direct anyone. You should investigate those folks.
So you wonder why Trump had to send in the National Guard to clean it up, to clean up the crime. Well, you need to look no further, right? Right here. The perfect police chief for the leftist, right here. They want to be ruled by toddlers, by children. It's amazing. What do we got going on here? Benny Johnson posted this. This is interesting. Child population since 2000. Red states plus 7.3%. Blue states minus 7.1%. Why? Let's see. The right builds families, gets married, raises kids, and believes in God, a culture of life. The left destroys families, hates children, glorifies single life, worships careers, and denies God's existence, a culture of death. In the end, we win. Well, yeah. I mean, it just makes sense, right? Like, okay, so you've got one side that kills their children and still in the womb, sterilizes them, has medical gender experiments performed on them, sterilizing them, right? turning them into, bad facsimiles of something they could never be. And then the other side is like, yeah, we like families and kids, and like we don't want to sterilize them, and we'd like grandchildren, and we want healthy children who will want to have children of their own and like have nice lives, right? So, I mean, this makes perfect sense. States with more Harris votes. Well, what are they obsessed with? Like the number one issue apparently is abortion. They're obsessed with making sure that babies aren't born. Right? They worship, cubicles, for they're, the Harris voter women worship cubicles and boxes of wine, and that's it. And cats. And that's pretty much it, right? And getting pregnant is the worst thing that could ever happen. It's a total catastrophe and a total disaster and a tragedy. And states with more Trump voters, well, the Trump voters think getting pregnant's a good thing and having kids is a good thing. So there you go. There you go. Kind of makes sense. Yeah, I mean, this is why they're determined to flood the United States. And this is the same in every Western country. This is why what's happening in Canada is happening, or one of the reasons why, and in the UK and every European country and Australia, is that they know that their populations are going to shrink, and eventually conservatives will take over. People with conservative values will take over because they just will have more children than the leftists and the radical leftists. And so they need to import new voters. And, a permanent underclass that will be dependent on them. And that's how they win. They'd rather literally destroy their own cultures, their own civilization, than lose, than to let go of power. And I think it's terrible, personally. That's just how I feel about it. What's going on here? All right, we've already seen that. Memes. Let's do some memes, shall we? So, a man of memes posted this. Nobody has a bigger heart than President Trump. This Christmas, he is flying thousands of illegals home to be with their families. Well, isn't that nice and thoughtful? What a nice thing. What a good thing. Thousands of illegals home to be with their families, and they can have a nice Christmas together. That's very thoughtful of Donald Trump. Let's see. Documentary. Well, this is posted by the Realist Memes. Documentary describing serial killer. Let's see. Prefers to be alone, has few friends, and stays home a lot. Huh? Let me reread that. Prefers to be alone, has few friends, and stays home a lot. Nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. What's this one? Mostly peaceful memes. Help, I'm getting bitten to death by ants. And this guy here, I'm guessing a leftist, very helpfully adds, not all ants. Not all ants, of course. It's not all ants. Did those ants shout a thing before they started biting them? With two words, both start with the A, perhaps, by any chance? I think they did. Let's see. Planet of Memes, accurate. So this is George Carlin here. Political correctness is fascism pretending to be manners. Political correctness is leftists not trying to fit their ideology into the world, but trying to fit the world into their ideology. And they don't care if they break the world in the process. That's what political correctness is. Political correctness is, reality be damned, we don't care. We don't care about the consequences of our ideas. We don't care about the consequences of our ideology, right? We just want to win. That's political correctness right there. I mean, they would literally prefer to have medical gender experiments conducted on their children than be politically incorrect. I mean, just let that sink in. Declaration of memes. Let's see. Every time he says, some dude, here is a joke about race. Dude of that race. Yo, dude, that's hilarious. Some white girl. And I took that personally. It really is that, isn't it? It really is that. Maybe they should just mind their own fucking business, huh? Stop ruining everything for everybody else. You know, you used to be able to just tell jokes and it was normal, right? And people could see the humor in themselves, their own culture or whatever. That used to be the case. And then leftists decided that, no, there's only one group of people that you're allowed to make jokes about. And it's white people. And then it's just, well, it's only straight white men. Like the world was a much better place when everybody, you know, when it was just a given that everybody was flawed in some way or had something amusing about them. And you could just say it, right? And everybody could just have a laugh. It's actually much more uniting than what happens now, right? Where, you know, you say one thing that's some leftist white woman is offended by, and that's it. Your life has to be over. Let's see. Let's just spill the memes. My houseplant watching me pour water in my espresso machine. You asshole. You asshole. Yeah, this is why I don't have plants anymore, because I can't stand that look they give me. That accusatory look they give me. Because it really would be easy to just water them instead of just say, no, I'm putting it out of my mind and looking away. But I do that. Anyway, it's just easier not to have plants. That's what I'm saying. Well, this is daily memes. The front of a liquor store. Oh, busted in there, huh? What happened? At least they are being responsible in sending their wives instead of drinking and driving. Sending their wives instead of drinking and driving. This feels very patriarchal to me. It feels very, very misogynist. But yeah, it's a good plan. Let's see. Planet of memes. European countries. So, well, that looks a lot better than, let's see, European Union. Ugh. Ugh. So, yeah, I think the thing is that, you know, European countries are all interesting and have their own cultures and, you know, they're cool to visit and stuff on their own. But then when you put them all together into the European Union, it's, it's that. It's, oh, I hate capitalism. She's just been against capitalism forever, right? This is the face of the, Greta Thunberg is now the face of the boot on a human face forever. That's what she is. She is now the symbol of the boot on a human face forever. Greta Thunberg. She was worried about the environment, apparently, very, very worried. It ruined her childhood, apparently. And then all of a sudden it was capitalism. Actually, that's the problem. And then it was Israel as the problem. And then it's capitalism again. And then she doesn't really talk about the environments anymore. Anyway, I think that the EU should split up into a bunch of hot Sydney Sweeneys instead of being a gross Greta Thunberg. So that's my thought. I think the EU is going to collapse, by the way. And I think they would rather be Sydney Sweeney, individually, those states with different accents, right? Than Greta. Then how dare you? How dare you? How dare I what? Not like let my life be run by some weird autistic 17-year-old Swedish girl. I'll be just fine, Greta. Let's see what's going on here. Suffer for Snakes posted this. Well, what is it? Let's see. Men, lesbians, newborn babies. Men, lesbians, newborn babies. What do they have in common? Loving boobs. That's true. That's true. They all do love boobs. Huh. I never thought of it that way, but yeah, it's real. What's this? Let's see. Posted by Daniel Hall. Imagine how much propaganda it took to convince women that this is oppressive. Well, it doesn't look that bad. Looks kind of nice, actually, right? Now, this is an idealized version, but it is true. I mean, psychologists have been doing studies on this for decades now, and it's just simply true that women are increasingly unhappy. I mean, here you have this. This is at University of Pennsylvania, the Wharton School, the paradox of declining female happiness. This is from 2008. And the internet is full of these studies, by the way, and it just keeps getting worse. By many objective measures, the lives of women in the United States have improved over the past 35 years. Yet we show that measures of subjective well-being indicate that women's happiness has declined both absolutely and relative to men. So does that mean that if you tell women that they'll be happier if they're making more money, instead of being a housewife, they're out contributing to GDP, and that cubicles are great and boxed wine is great, and why would you ever want to have a family when you can drink wine from a box every night to try and quell your depression? Yeah, I don't know. I just wonder sometimes the whole sexually reproducing species thing, and we're not the same. And, obviously, like, you got a man and a woman, and they make a family, and that's how it's always been. And we're kind of shaped by that. Our psychology is shaped by that. And, while nothing is ever perfect, it might be better than a lifetime of cubicles and boxes of wine and cats. So while this is an idealized version, yeah, there is truth in this. Now what are we doing? Let's see. The conservative alternative. I don't know. Let's see. Charlie Kirk posted this. He said, get married, have children, build a legacy, pass down your values, pursue the eternal, seek true joy. Eventually, we will replace the nihilists. Well, sadly, the nihilists got to Charlie Kirk, but this is all true, and this will continue to live on after him. Yeah, what do you want? What kind of, it's just a life of nihilism, hedonism. These are not actually fulfilling. Get married, have children, build a legacy, pass down your values, pursue the eternal, seek true joy. There is so much I didn't understand when I was an alcoholic for decades. And there's so much that I understand now that I've been sober for a bunch of years. There's so much I understand now that I didn't understand then. Thankfully, I did, have kids, which is great, who we're still on very good terms for now. But yeah. What's this here? Let's see. Mommy E-Thought. I've had like 5 abortions. I'll start a family when I'm ready. I feel so empowered. My body is a temple. Yeah, an Aztec temple. Ooh, that's a tough one. Ooh, Aztec temple. Ooh, human sacrifice. Ouch, ouch. That's a zinger. She got her. She got her. Based woman got her. She got that, Mommy E-Thought. Aztec temple. Oh, it's grim. Grim. Let's see. How about this one? Abort our own children, import hostile immigrants, disarm ourselves. This is why they need to import a permanent underclass to replace these people. So the leftists can keep getting votes. It's depressing. It really is depressing. These people, everything they know, they learned off a teleprompter. Let's see. Spook 5.56 Nada. What is this? So what's going on here? What's this? Before and after. Let's see. So this will be Canada. Gun control for dummies. Law-abiding citizen. And then a criminal. So before gun control. And then after gun control, he can't protect himself anymore. And the criminal is very happy. So there you go. That's it. That's what's happening in Canada right now. Gun crime is increasing. So they are taking away guns from legal from legal gun owners who don't commit crimes, so that they're more vulnerable to the criminals who are using illegal guns. So I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me, but that's Canada. That's Canada now. Nothing makes sense. It's a cautionary tale for the world. Let's see. What's this one? Debbie, did we already do this one? I think we did. Yeah, we did that one before. All right. Let us move on. Oh, God. Okay, before we get to the chat, we've got to look at this. Marty Up North posted this. If you ever doubted that NDP supporters are all lunatics, I never doubted that. Not at all. Not at all. So I guess this is at one of their leadership things, the NDP leadership things. And yeah, it's about what you'd expect. I think there's people protesting outside because there's a communist, an openly communist, a guy who's an open communist who wanted to run to be NDP leader, but he was banned by the party, or the NDP leadership. The NDP would not let him run. So let me start over. There's people outside protesting because there's an open communist who wanted to run to be NDP leader. The party didn't let him. So there's people out front protesting. He's asking people what they think about this. Should the guy be allowed to run? And he runs into typical NDP lunatic. Let's take a look.
What do you think of Eve Engler being excluded from the race?
Get your camera out of my face. That's what I think. Thank you.
Okay. Very friendly. So they're chanting, let Eves run. Eves Engler, who's a open Marxist, right? I mean, the NDP, they're all communists, right? But they try and hide it a little bit so they don't scare off the public too much. But let's take a look.
What do you think of the protests?
There are better ways to have a conversation.
There are better ways to have a conversation. So they should be screaming from the river to the sea. Death to Canada, death to Israel, death to the USA. I get it. I'm sure for the NDP, that's the better way.
NDP!
Yeah, well, we'd love to have the conversation.
So she comes back out again. So she's gone in, stewed about it because she's insane, and come back out to make an utter and total public fool of herself. Again, this is an NDP event, so not surprising.
I think you are. Who do you think you are? Coming up to me, a goddamn stranger, and putting...
Coming up to me, a goddamn stranger. Nobody has ever done a man on the street interview before. I mean, who does he think he is? Doesn't he know who she is? She's a crazy fucking she's a batshit crazy leftist.
A phone in my face as though you're gonna fucking persecute me for a political opinion. Who do you think you are?
What's your
My point is, you white man towering over me with your goddamn phone. Okay. Get it out of my face.
Okay, bye.
You have infuriated me.
You think of
Totally mentally healthy. Yeah, well, a white man. Who does he think that he is? He's a white man. It never becomes less bizarre to me to see white women going on about white men. It's just so weird. You know, your father was white. You know, if you've got any brothers, they're white too. So I don't know. It just seems like just such an oddly, weirdly, suicidally stupid attitude to have. But yes, it's not surprising because this is the NDP, right? Now, I don't know who's going to win the leadership. I think it's going to come down to tree with face painted on it or photograph of a cloud that looks vaguely like Greta Thunberg. I don't know. I think my money's on the cloud, I think. But she has had enough of white men asking questions, persecuting her. Did you see how he persecuted her there by asking her the same question he was asking all the other people who are actually normal? Did you see that? persecuting her. A white man towering over her. It's just, the sad thing is in Canada, it's people like this that are running institutions in Canada. Like, just straight up, like, mentally deranged lunatics. Like, this is encouraged on the left, by the way. This sort of derangement, right? I don't know. I mean, it is sad to say, but I guarantee you, like, the institutions in Canada are run by lunatics like this. Absolute. And I think it's because they act like this as they just terrify everybody, right? Until they get their way, because it's just easier than dealing with them. Let's see. Alex Zoltan posted this. Amazing Zoltan. Imagine your average American attending this Canadian church without prior warning. Well, I think there's a lot of churches in the States that are like this too. You know, maybe the Americans in the chat can comment on that, but let's take a look.
Service. There's good food afoot in the church today. Come on out to brunch. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll just go right down the hall through that door after church. Drag spirituality is about joy and making joyful noise. So I am very happy to now give a rousing welcome to today's drag liturgist and our guest preacher. First, the queen of the back row of our choir, Tara Baloney.
So it's just a church of LGBTQ plus 2S whatever. I don't know. I mean, if this is your church now, then what's the point? I mean, just turn the church into a gay bar. Why bother being a church anymore, right? Like, this is just baffling to me. There's children in there, by the way. There's children, right? So, like, again, why even be a church? It just seems very odd to me. And it's not, there's more of them. I mean, like, is this really something to celebrate? You've got children there. Like, is it really something to celebrate? Like, there's like a guy dressed up as a woman with the mustache and the scary makeup on. Like, why is that something for children to celebrate exactly? Like, is that really good for them? Like, can we get some studies on this? Like, is that really healthy for children? Like, what is this? Is this love? Is this what love is? No, what is it? Like, what weird euphemisms do they use to justify this? Let's see. It says here, equality, peace, kindness, love, justice, hope. So is this like kindness and love and justice and hope? Like hope, like the kids can say, I hope I don't grow up into that. Like, it's just weird. It's not just weird. Like, it is just weird, right? Like, there's just something that says, this isn't right. This is not the way it's supposed to be.
And our guest preacher today, on loan from the Anglican Church, Reverend Carol Morgan.
That's their guest preacher? What? She looks like she should be shooting up a church. I mean, hey, look, it's like happened like 7 times in the last 2 years. I don't know. Again, why even be a church, right? Just shut it down and reopen it as a gay bar, because that's what this is. Skate Canada isn't finding much support amongst other Canadian sports federations. So Skate Canada is very upset that Alberta Premier Danielle Smith has banned child gender experiments, medical gender experiments in Alberta. Yes, Skate Canada, federally funded, by the way. is mad about that. So they don't want to hold events in Alberta anymore because, again, they're determined to have as many children medically experimented upon as possible. But maybe something's turning in this country because the other groups, you have other groups that are not other sports federations. Maybe something is turning around because other Canadian sports federations are not joining them in this boycott of Alberta. So this can only be good.
And unfortunately for Skate Canada, they are not backing Skate Canada in that stance. CBC News reached out to several sports governing bodies here in Canada for their take on the matter. Hockey Canada, Speed Skating Canada, Curling Canada, Boxing Canada, Table Tennis Canada all say they will continue to hold large-scale events in Alberta. Many of them have big stakes in Alberta, whether it's large training facilities, large well-funded programs, and many of them say in their comments to CBC News that this is not about taking a stance either way, it's just about pragmatism.
Okay. Thanks very much, Mark.
Thank you.
Oh, CBC must be devastated by that news. There's something in Canada that's not totally batshit crazy. Huh. All right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. What's going on? Trudeau Survivor says the church of anything goes. Anything goes. I mean, what? Again, I don't like, why even be a church at that point? Right? Izzy says, I'd be worried about being in that church in a thunderstorm. Going to attract a lot of lightning, I might guess. Let's see. Now, Rosie says, this is why the Episcopal Church of USA broke up in 2001. Anglican Union Worldwide has established itself as primacy and denounced UK and US woke church. Yeah, it's in Canada, apparently. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says she's a height bigot, the crazy NDP lady. Yeah. Totally nuts. Let's see what's going on with ads. Should I do an ad read? I don't know. Do like let's do Misfits Boxing. That's on tomorrow on Rumble. It's a big thing on Rumble, actually. Get ready, fight fans. On December 20th, the biggest crossover boxing event of the year drops live from Dubai only on Rumble Premium. I'm going to be watching it. I can tell you that much. It's Misfits Mania, the fight before Christmas, headlined by Andrew Tate, stepping into the ring against heavyweight champion Chase Damore for Misfits Boxing heavyweight title. I am genuinely excited to watch this tomorrow. I'm going to get myself some chips and some non-alcoholic beer, and I'm going to have a great time. This isn't just another bout. It's a global event with a stacked undercard and all-out action you can't miss. Tune in exclusively on Rumble Premium and witness drama, power, and one of the most talked-about clashes of the year. Mark your calendars, December 20th, because Misfits Mania is about to deliver fireworks. Sign up today. I will be watching that tomorrow. I will be. And I'm excited about it. Let's see. Spambot says you should host a private premium stream tomorrow. Nah, I'm taking it easy tomorrow. I'm taking it easy tomorrow. I'm going to sit back and have some snacks and just kind of chill and watch some boxing and watch some Misfits. And yeah, that's what I'm doing. And I think I might watch a bit of hockey too. I've been getting back into the hockey a little bit here and there. I'm not throwing my life away for sports, but a little bit. I've been allowing myself a little bit of indulgence. What's going on here? All right, we already did that. Let's go here. Let's get moving. CBC Watcher. Police break up a multi-million-dollar retail theft ring accused of targeting Shoppers Drug Marts. Shoppers Drug Marts says Hamilton police adding that many of the people arrested here were already wanted or facing charges for similar crimes. Quote, what we noticed was these individuals would commit a theft, they would be arrested, they would get released on bail, and then they would do the same thing. Who could have guessed that would ever happen? And it was a repetitive cycle over and over and over. Staff Sergeant Shane Koviduck. Quote, police added that most of the accused had only been in Canada for a year and a half. Thank you, Trudeau. Thank you, Mark Carney. And politicians wonder why people are cynical about immigration, crime, and the court system. Why did we want to import this again? Why did we want that?
Well, a retail theft ring accused of targeting Shoppers Drug Marts has now been dismantled. The investigation started in Hamilton, Ontario, before spreading across the country. The alleged criminal network believed to be responsible for hundreds of thefts, with 21 suspects now facing charges. CTV Sean Leathong has those details.
It may have been just a few items at a time, but these stolen goods taken from drugstores across Ontario, Quebec, and BC added up to millions, part of what police call a sophisticated retail theft organization.
They were stealing razors, cosmetics, creams, nicotine gum.
Today, Hamilton police announced the results of Project Psalms, with 21 people arrested, 175 charges across 3 provinces, all done stealing small items, mostly from Shoppers Drug Mart.
The primary group targeted multiple cities and regions, carrying out their offenses in a rapid blitz-style manner.
They would take a few items concealed in a bag or clothing and then move on. This map released by Hamilton Police shows the route taken by the alleged thieves working together to hit multiple stores in a day or over a weekend, both here in the GTA and in the Montreal area, as well as BC.
Once the property was stolen from the retail locations, it was trafficked to an individual from Mississauga, and from there it was trafficked to a large-scale liquidation.
You know what would be awesome is if they said they've all been deported immediately. They're all out of the country now. No, they're not going to say that. What it's going to be is that they're all have been immediately released and they're all out on bail immediately. And they're doing it again. Only been in Canada for about a year and a half. Thank you, Canadian government. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You know, it used to be like unthinkable that there'd be products in a store that would be behind glass or behind plastic. You know, in like a high trust society, you don't really need that sort of thing. But they decided we don't want a high trust society. We want a shithole country, apparently. Well, I never decided that, but you know how it goes. I think I saw some garbage in the chat. Let's see. Spambot says, Richie doesn't read my posts anymore. Don't worry, Rosie. Fuck you. Fuck you. Don't you try and shame me. Don't you fucking try and guilt me. God damn it. I read everybody's posts constantly. That's all I'm doing in my life. How dare you? How dare you? Rosie says, did you see Spam's post about the Sweeney movie? I did not. All right, let's go back and take a look. Sweeney movies. But this is getting sleepy. But and now blowing wind is drifting and more dry. Okay. I'm not seeing anything about Sweetie. Seeing something about shoveling. Let's see. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, here we go. Oops, the video title is How Sydney Sweeney's Breasts Killed Wokeness. Was there a link on that? I don't know. Let's see. I don't know. I don't see anything. Anyway, I'm trying, people. I'm trying my best. We're 2 hours into this thing already. I got to get through this stuff. Let's see. Very hygienic-minded thieves, Survivor says. Let's see. I try, and it's never good enough. Never good enough. Let's see. What else we got here? All right, we got to get through the news, people. Come on. Stop distracting me. All right, we already did that. What's going on here? All right. Eric Doherty posted this. President Trump is hilarious. Well, let's take a look. Let's get this train rolling. Let's keep moving. Let's go.
Thank you very much. You okay? Fake news. We want you to be healthy. Are you all right? The camera's not okay, but she's okay. That's more important. We have good medicine for you if you need some medicine. One of them can take good care of it. We're also joined by Secretaries Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Howard Lutnick, ambassador, and really some incredible ambassadors. Administrator. Thank you very much.
He's always the same, which is, it's really funny. He's just always the same. Let's see. Oh, so let's talk about that speech he did, where everybody thought he was going to announce that war with Venezuela, right? And Tucker Carlson was saying, "Oh, it's war with Venezuela. He's going to announce a war with Venezuela." You know, somebody leaked it to him. So this is actually, Trump does this stuff all the time, right? He puts stuff out there to kind of distract people, to, get people off balance, and then he just lists all of his accomplishments. So he puts out this thing so that everybody's going to want to watch it, right? He's got to invade Venezuela. He's got to announce it tonight, and then he just lists off all the things he's done. So, I mean, it's fairly obvious at this point, isn't it, that strategy? It's like how, he used to misspell words in his tweets, and it would get people talking about it, or how he'll exaggerate the number of, illegal, exaggerate, new employment numbers or something. So, he'd give it an extra couple of points and then say, it's not actually that, it's only this, but it would still be a good number. Like a really good number, and that's how we would get people to cut, because otherwise they just wouldn't talk about it at all, anything positive. So it's a strategy. They still fall for it. Eric Doherty posted this. CNN just had a Harvard expert tell Democrats they can't spin President Trump's latest inflation victory. Well, CNN's not going to like this. They must not have vetted this guy before he came on.
It was a better number than anyone was expecting. Look, inflation's been very high. Mm-hmm. It's stayed high. It has not been coming down. But, people were expecting it to be above 3%. It was well below 3%. I mean, I think the president will take this as good news. The investors will think that interest rates will get cut more. So, it was a positive news. There's no other way to spin it.
Absolutely.
So I guess whoever, the producer or whoever, vets these people before they come on, forgot to ask them, you're going to lie about Trump, right? You're going to lie, right? You're going to lie. They forgot to ask them, because normally I think they'd ask that. You're going to lie about Trump, right? You're going to lie? And they'd say, oh, yes, definitely going to lie. Don't worry. I'm going to tell lies. This time, I guess they forgot to do it. As he says, he's a master of media manipulation. They talk about Trump there. He really is. I mean, everybody should have figured that out, by now. Rosie says, are we the reason for the show or a distraction? You guys are a distraction from the show, 100%. Let's see. Spambot says, to see the Sydney Sweeney politics video, you need a subscription to Nebula TV. I don't have one, unfortunately. That's what it's called. Politics. Now I want to see it. God damn it. Oh, I want to see that. Damn it. All right. That's pretty funny. Politics. I like it. All right. What's this here? What's the Trump? I knew Gavin for 4 years. I got along great with him. He's gone radical left. So Joe Rogan Podcast News. Let's take a look at this.
Not the new set of rules. It may have rolled over a little bit. Right now, we've got to hold the line because I think America will become unrecognizable in a year or two unless we fight back.
He wants to fight harder, and he thinks the Democrats aren't fighting hard enough against you and, of course, the Republicans, Gavin Newsom.
I mean, I knew Gavin for 4 years. I got along great with him, but he's gone radical left. And, you know, he's building a train system from San Francisco to LA that's got about a 2,000 or 3,000% cost overrun. It's the worst thing I've never seen anything like it. I've seen cost overruns. I've never seen anything like that. If you take a look at what he's done, so they lost 25,000 houses. Do you know they haven't issued one building permit yet? So these people are trying to rebuild the houses. Malibu. But he did something. He did something even worse than that. He's now taking a big section of Palisades or some area, and he's going to build low-income housing where they used to have luxury housing. He's going to put low-income housing in. His fire stuff is out of control. The forests are burning down all over the place. And honestly, I always liked him, but he's a horrible governor. He's a horrible governor. If he ran the country like that, we would have an absolutely gonzo country. This country would be gone. The fact is, if I weren't president, if Kamala got in, you wouldn't have, not only wouldn't you have $20 trillion coming in, you would have money leaving, and your welfare system. Take a look at some of the welfare things that we're talking about. They've doubled, tripled, and quadrupled since I left office.
SNAP benefits have
well, SNAP has gone from like 7 billion to many times 7 billion. And, you know, people keep talking about SNAP, but SNAP is supposed to be if you're down and out.
Well, what did Gavin Newsom say in the beginning here?
Not the new set of rules. It may have rolled over a little bit. Right now, we've got to hold the line because I think America will become unrecognizable in a year or two unless we fight back.
So what would make California unrecognizable to Gavin Newsom? Like if there weren't like homeless encampments everywhere, like tents and homeless people and drug addicts everywhere, and like you could leave your car unattended for 10 minutes without it getting broken into? Would that make it unrecognizable? I mean, maybe unrecognizable is better. Possibly. I don't know. What do you think? Quite possibly. Let's see. All right, let's move on. What do we got here? Woke mind virus. Let's see. Metatron. There is only one word to describe this Harvard peer-reviewed study: academic betrayal. They bowed down to the altar of political propaganda. They betrayed the public trust. They abandoned academic neutrality, and their degrees are now forfeit. Metatron has a great history channel. He's really good. I think you guys would like him. Check him out. Reparations for slavery could have reduced COVID-19 transmission and deaths in the U.S., Harvard study says. That was from February 16th, 2021. So it's a little bit old now, but it's like they just wanted to talk about reparations. Like, let's just put these two things together that have nothing to do with each other, and then, you know, will be on message. Let's see. All right. So what's going on here? Toronto Crime Watch. Want to know how broken Canada is? Waleed Khan, 26 of Toronto, who is now charged with terrorism offenses, was arrested in August 2025 after trying to kidnap teenage girls at gunpoint. Now, I'm guessing Waleed Khan is one of those new Canadians, I'm going to guess. Let's see. Police found 2 loaded prohibited firearms, an AR-15 rifle capable of automatic fire, and a pistol, both equipped with prohibited high-capacity magazines, along with over 110 rounds of ammunition. He was on probation at the time of arrest for prior violent offenses and prohibited from possessing firearms. A judge still released him on bail with an ankle monitor. Today it was revealed he had links to ISIS. They were targeting teenage Jewish girls, and he is being charged with terrorism offenses. So, in other words, diversity. Diversity. Canada almost got diversitied by this guy. So, yeah, Canada. Didn't used to have these problems for some reason. Can't quite put my finger on it. For some reason, we didn't used to have these problems. I don't know. Crazy. Let's see. Wilfred Riley wrote this. He said, the pro-Hamas pitch is literally, quote, we started a big war with a rape massacre. We lost, and now it's raining. How could you do this to us? This works on modern Western liberals who have been trained to see the weaker and more useless person as correct in every conflict. Nothing I am saying here is at all joking or false, by the way. Yeah, that literally is the story. Literally is the story, right? It was a big clue when, like, they were dancing and partying on October 7th a couple of years ago while the bodies were still warm and the blood was still flowing. Bit of a clue. Let's see. Wall Street Apes posted this. 145,000 likes in 24 hours. The world is waking up. So what's going on here? Is this blaming everything on the far right, the mythical, imaginary far right, or is it real? Let's take a look.
Iranian here with another pro tip for anyone who's not from the Middle East. If you have to put up barricades around your Christmas markets or cancel them due to threats of terrorism, that's not multiculturalism and diversity. That's jihad. This past weekend in Germany, 5 Muslim immigrants were arrested by German police because they were planning on driving a car into a Christmas market. 3 Moroccans, an Egyptian, and a Syrian were planning on murdering Christians at a Christmas market for the crime of being Christian. And for those of you who are constantly believing this jihadi propaganda that all these Islamic terrorist attacks have to do with Israel, a Christmas market attended by Christians in Germany has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in Israel. What starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews. And if you think this is only about Israel, you need to wake up because they're already targeting Christians and you might be next. Maybe it's time to stop importing people into your countries who hate you and want to destroy everything about you and murder you just because you're not Muslim. Tolerating Islamic terrorism and jihad is not multiculturalism and diversity. It's suicide. And now you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing that nobody can say. It's that the things she's describing there are not going to happen. Like, everybody knows they will happen. That will happen. Everything she's talking about there is going to happen over and over and over and over again. So maybe we should be listening to people like her. I don't know, like people from the Middle East who've had experience with this stuff for, when they were growing up, for instance. I don't know. All I know is that there's no lies here. And yes, we know that it will just, all the things she's describing will happen over and over and over and over again. And anybody who suggests that to be a good person, you have to tolerate that is an idiot. All right, we already did that one. What's going on here? I'm running out of steam, you guys. I don't know how much longer we got tonight. Amy Eileen Ham. She is the nurse who has been persecuted for years by the BC Nurses College for knowing what a woman is. She says, a sign of how bad Canada has gotten. Growing up, the school would ask families to donate to Christmas programs that would gift food and presents to the handful of poor families in the community. Now, the school sends everyone a list of food banks and places to get help with gifts, as well as crisis support services. Stark reversal. Most of us used to be well off in this country. Now the norm is to be struggling. Yeah. Yep. And Canadians keep voting for it. Amazingly. Amazingly. All right. What else do we got? Let's see. So Pierre Poilievre, he needs to just do this. This is why the CBC hates him. They hate him because he is a genuine threat to their paymasters at the Liberal Party. His polling has remained pretty consistent since the election. It's still the highest level. It's around 40%, 41%, highest level in 40 years. They fear him. In fact, in a new poll, Pierre Poilievre has just actually moved into the lead. So that's why they hate him. And one of the reasons he's so popular is because he is just saying things that are not, because he's not just being liberal light, is why. He's saying things that are just real. Premier Smith is right. Biological men don't belong in women's sports, period. Protect safety and fairness for women and girls. Look at this, National Post. Boxing regulator backs Alberta in clash over trans sports with Skate Canada. Yeah, like Skate Canada, it turns out they're alone in this now. So things have turned. Pierre is on the right side of this. And saying things that are true has the benefit of that they're true. And eventually people will just accept it. Let's see. All right. How about this from Nick Sortor? Things are turning around. They're turning around. Breaking, RFK Jr. announces he signed a directive banning transgender surgeries for minors nationwide. Let's take a look. So sanity is reasserting itself. Let's take a look.
Doctors assume a solemn obligation to protect children. Yet doctors across the country now provide needless and irreversible sex-rejecting procedures that violate their sacred Hippocratic oath by endangering the very lives that they are sworn to safeguard. The American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, peddled the lie that chemical and surgical sex-rejecting procedures could be good for children who suffer from gender dysphoria. They betrayed the estimated 300,000 American youth ages 13 to 17, conditioned to believe that sex can be changed. They betrayed their Hippocratic oath to do no harm. So-called gender-affirming care has inflicted lasting physical and psychological damage on vulnerable young people. This is not medicine, it is malpractice. We're done with junk science driven by ideological pursuits, not the well-being of children. A peer-reviewed report published by the HHS Office of the Assistant Secretary for Health last month confirms that sex-rejecting procedures impose medical dangers and lasting harm on children who receive these interventions. So today we are taking 6 decisive actions guided by gold standard science and the week 1 executive order from President Trump to protect children from chemical and surgical mutilation. This morning, I signed a declaration. Sex-rejecting procedures are neither safe nor effective treatment for children with gender dysphoria.
And this has been obvious to anybody with 2 brain cells to rub together and the courage to actually acknowledge reality for the entire time, because you don't need to be an expert to know that medical gender experiments on children is not a cure for depression or dysphoria or anything else. Clearly preventing children from growing into healthy adult bodies, something they cannot possibly give informed consent for. Clearly, that is madness. I mean, that is lunacy. That's barbarity. I mean, this is Mengele type medicine. And they can come up with all the euphemisms they like, gender affirming care, which in reality is the exact opposite of gender affirming. Gender affirming would be saying, this is your body. It's the only body you're ever going to have. Okay. And let's help you get comfortable in it. That would be gender affirming, right? The euphemistically named gender affirming care is actually the real conversion therapy. It's insane. And I'm just so heartened to see reality and just decency, human decency assert itself. It's far past time. I want to make a couple of corrections. I just remembered. So we're talking about Gavin Newsom and that clip where he's like, I want trans kids. And he was talking about sports, girls' sports. And he has actually come out against trans in, biological males in women's sports. He says that it's deeply unfair. So I want to make sure that we're clear on that. Gavin Newsom, and he's pissed off his base with this. Gavin Newsom has actually come out against having biological males in women's sports and girls' sports especially. He says it's deeply unfair. We have to give him credit there. I was talking about, what was I talking? I can't remember what I was talking about. I was calling it something rational altruism. I can't remember exactly what we're talking about, but like not letting your kid eat candy for every meal. What I meant to say was rational self-interest. Rational self-interest. So, which is basically a positive sum game, right? So you don't let your kid eat candy for every meal. That's rational self-interest. It's good because you don't want a kid who's insane and super unhealthy. It's also good for your child because they're not going to be insane and unhealthy. And, it's in your interest for your kid not to be that. Rational self-interest is actually a positive sum game that helps everybody. And I think that's all the corrections that I had that I wanted to make. I think that's it. All right, we can move on. Mr. Menno, good job you didn't get the bottom surgery then. Sandyford gender clinician, when he announced he was detransitioning after 5 years of medicalization. So let's take a look at this. So this is what you'll never see on the CBC. They'll never interview somebody like this or Chloe Cole or any other detransitioner. CNN will never have them on. New York Times will never talk to them. The BBC will never talk to anybody like this. The only way their stories can get out is through, independent media. Let's take a look.
I didn't want to look trans. I wanted to look female. But it becomes all-consuming. I can start a new life away from the trauma that Michael has. Yeah. They've medicated me for 5 years. Now that I'm reversing, they don't want to know. It's allowing regular gay men that the better option for them is to transition, trans the gay away. I just need to get this magic pill and it'll make everything better. The way that doctors are trained is littered within homophobia. It's like, oh, and good job you didn't get the bottom surgery then, wasn't it? I'm like, what? It's going to be detransitioning voices that takes this down, and I'm going to be one of them.
That echoes so much what we saw in the leaked WPATH files, the World Professional Association of Transgender Health. Just the cavalier way they talked about, one of their former patients or victims, you might say, getting into their 20s and, getting into a relationship and wanting kids and not realizing that, it's not going to happen. And the doctor saying, yeah, well, I guess the dog's not doing it for you, huh? Like this person hearing, a good thing we didn't do the bottom surgery. I mean, it's horrifying, right? It's horrifying. Pseudoscience, they're just making up. It's literally just experiments, medical experiments on humans. Horrifying stuff. But you'll never see this in the mainstream media. You'll never see this. We wouldn't even see this on Fox News, for God's sakes. That's how bad it is. It's for some reason it's taboo to show real stories of real people that are a warning against the madness that we've seen unfold around us. Truly crazy. All right, let's move on. What do we got next? Mark, just very quickly, Satire Squad headquarters. Satire Squad. Canada, can you see the difference? Well, let's take a look. Let's see. So there is Pierre Poilievre and his family, and there's Mark Carney and Skeletor. Hold on. Oh, I can't play that. they just, it's not the same, is it? Right? You've got like these, frankly, just kind of weirdo globalists. They just strike me, Carney and his wife strike me as just weirdo globalists. And then you've just got Pierre Poilievre with just his nice family. Miserable and fake versus genuine and happy. Wake up, fucktards. Liberals. The liberals. If stupid was a party, it says, there's just like a nice, normal family, right? Globalist bankers and nice, normal family. Globalist bankers, do you see it? I sure do. Miserable and fake versus genuine and happy. Wake up, fucktards. Wake up, fucktards. If stupid was a party, the liberals. Like, look, that's just a nice family. He doesn't have, what does Mark Carney have? 50 million? He's made a lot of money being a globalist banker. A ESG fund manager. He's made a lot of money, Mark Carney, right? He's just in a different world, from a different world. Pierre Poilievre, yeah, he's been in politics his whole adult life. Okay, but he's also been in Canada, right? And he's had to live like a normal Canadian does. So he's not hanging out in Davos. He's not been hanging out in Davos and hanging out with the elite. He is as normal, as close to just as a normal dude as you're going to get in Canadian politics, right? There is nice family, and then you've got that. Globalist weirdos. Fake and miserable. They don't even she doesn't even live in Canada, I don't think. Her and his daughter, who he sent to the Tavistock Gender Clinic in the UK, by the way, the disgraced clinic, the one that's been shut down since. I think the wife and the daughter live in New York. I don't know. So relatable. So relatable. The elitist, globalist, technocrat. So relatable. God, people are naive and stupid. Ugh. All right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. Trudeau Survivor says the term sex-rejecting procedures was coined by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services in December 2025. It's good. It's much better. It's much better. I prefer medical experiments myself because that actually describes exactly what they are. JJ says, RFK Jr. been getting some natural vitamin D. I don't know. Trudeau Survivor probably has all tanning beds and red light saunas, probably. Trudeau Survivor says, waking up to that scowl, almost feel sorry for Carney. Nah, he deserves Skeletor. Nevada says, I think most of these globalists are strung out on coke and just crazy from it. Probably. I'm not surprised. Let's see. Rosie says, something about might be heard better with a more pleasant title than Link Monkey. What? What's going on? I'm just scrolling back up through the chat now. Nevada says, someone grab Richie a coffee. I got some coffee here. Hold on. Let me have another sip. What the fuck is going on here? Spambot, please, oh please, Link Monkey. This one vid, no sound, just the vid and the description. Oh, God damn it. Where is it? There it is. All right, hold on. Fucking Link Monkey. He used to have so much potential. People thought I'd do something with my life one day. Let's see. Instead, nope, just a simple Link Monkey. A lowly Link Monkey is what I've become. Such high hopes for this channel. Thought I'd really make a difference. Nope. Link Monkey. Play me a link. Fetch me my link. What the hell? What's this? Hold on. This looks good. All right, hold on. No wonder the neighbors ever want to talk. I mean, that's good. That's a good one. That was worth it. That was worth it. That was Link Monkey worth it. Okay, that one wasn't bad. Maybe I won't get a copyright because it's like, it's maybe that music. It sounds like maybe, I don't know. Everything gets copyrighted, but whatever. It was worth it. All right. Well, I'll give you that one. Not bad. Not bad. Not bad. All right. Oh, God damn it. Oh, actually, hold on. Where were we? What the hell were we doing? Mark Carney. All right, we did all that. Canada Proud says Michael Ma attacked the Liberals for months, then joined them. Does this man have any principles? Let's take a look. So this is the guy who crossed the floor. He was at the Conservative Christmas dinner one night, and the next day he was joining the Liberal Party, betraying all of his constituents who are all now protesting every day now because they didn't vote for the Liberal Party. They voted for the Conservative. And then this guy, Michael Ma, who seems to hang out with a lot of pro-CCP people, just suddenly decided he loves the Liberals now. He loves them. Well, what did he say here?
You talk about your principles not changing, but just in the last 7 months, some of the things you said about the Liberal government, for example, with money printers working overdrive, what future does Canada have under the Liberal feudal regime? I do not see a future here. Day in, day out, the Liberals have shown us whom they truly value. They cater to the common criminals with fairness for the thief, murder, and drug dealer, and firmness for the honest citizen and compliant taxpayer. This is the party you've just joined here. These are your words from November and December. You talk about principles, but you're really kind of going against what you've just said there.
Well, as I said, in order to fight that, being on the opposition, to be criticized.
Well, that makes perfect sense. In order to fight those things, you have to be in the party that's actively doing those things and is not going to stop. So you have to help them do those things that you hate. Look, Canada is hopelessly corrupt. China's been interfering in our elections for like at least a decade, probably longer, right? They interfered in the last election. They interfered on Carney's behalf, or they interfered to the benefit of Carney in the Liberal leadership race. They wanted Carney. All right, Carney, who took a $250 million loan from a Chinese state bank for Brookfield, shortly before he became prime minister. Right, so what's going on here? It's obvious this guy hated the Liberals, right? And then all of a sudden he likes the Liberals. Overnight, he's at the Conservative Christmas party one night, and then the very next day he's going over the aisle, and now he loves Carney and the Liberals and all of the things he's been railing against. What's going on? There's a big Chinese influence factor into this. There is a considering that we know China has been interfering in Canadian politics to benefit Liberals for a very long time. This guy has connections to the CCP. He hangs out with pro-CCP groups and people. How much did Carney bribe him? Was it the CCP that said, you're going to be Liberal now? Was it Carney that bribed him? Was it a combination of both? Whatever. But he's not being upfront. You can see it. Obviously, he's not. It's not that he had a change of heart. This guy was only elected 8 months ago. He hasn't been in that seat for, years and years, and maybe had some personal evolution or something. No, it's all bullshit. Something happened, and we need to find out what. Because this wasn't just a guy having a change of heart.
In deepening that division, I decided to roll up my sleeves and actually do something to it. I have now better access to ministers and the Prime Minister to deliver those voices on behalf of the Markham Universe. I think this is a better approach than creating very negative views and not finding solutions.
It's a better approach to not represent the platform you were elected on. It's a better approach. Nobody's buying this. This is all total bull. Something happened. Okay, the CBC, the mainstream media, has absolutely zero interest in what happened, even though it's obviously on its face corrupt. There's obvious corruption here. Right? Yeah, sure, the mainstream media is curiously incurious about that. But I'm certain something is going to come out. Somebody's going to find something out. Maybe there'll be a leak from CSIS or something. I don't know. Something's got to come out about this, though. I mean, stuff is already, the links with the CCP have been coming out, and this is dirty, and the truth has to be known. What we can all be absolutely certain of is that he didn't just have a sudden change of heart. I don't believe it, and nobody believes it. Ryan Garrettson posted this from December 18th. Michael Ma is lying. Could the guy have dug a deeper hole for himself? Let's take a look at this.
As I said, this is a decisive moment for Canadian economy and the nation as a whole. And the night I attended the Conservative Party, I was truly a Conservative member and an MP. I have not made a decision at that point. And so it wasn't until I had the opportunity to confirm my understanding of Prime Minister Carney's approach and his vision for Canada. Of course, up to that point, I have reflected on a lot of the comments, as I said, from the people I have talked to in Markham, Unionville, and Canadians at large.
Oh, yeah, it turns out he didn't actually talk to anybody. That's all bull. So he went to the Conservative Christmas party. The next day, he had this epiphany. Sure. Yeah, so the people he betrayed have been protesting. Michael Ma resigned now. They'd like to have a by-election so they can vote in another actual Conservative. Keep in mind the timing of this. The timing of this, it's all very suspicious. It's all extreme. You've got Pierre Poilievre's leadership coming up. Parliament's going out. Parliament is off for Christmas. The timing of it is very suspicious. And again, this brings Carney one seat away from an absolute majority. So there won't be an election. If he gets one more walkover from any party, he's doing a full term. He'll fulfill a full term as prime minister, and he'll pass all of his legislation. So, yeah, the whole thing just absolutely stinks. His constituents, they want another election. They want a Conservative. They don't want him. Here they are protesting out front of his office. Here they are protesting outside of his office. Michael Ma, traitor, must resign. What do you call this other than treachery? It's obvious treachery, right? This can't be allowed to stand just as it is. All right. What do I got here? So, Canadian media bias. We do a lot of stuff on this. Here, CBC Watcher posted this clip. So, Rosemary Barton is interviewing Mark Carney, and it's almost as if she's a real journalist for a second. She's pushing, but she has to. And Carney is his usual duplicitous. Carney is his usual, Carney is his usual arrogant, duplicitous self. There is, of course, framing is a part of this, of course, as it is with all things CBC. But let's take a look.
They're Conservative MPs you would not accept into the Liberal caucus.
Look, if people come to me, I make a judgment.
Someone who is pro-life or anti-trans, would you accept that person into your caucus?
I mean, we're in multiple hypotheticals. It's not a.
So is that a no?
It's a neither. It's a non-answer to a.
Is there an active
question.
Recruitment of MPs from other parties happening?
I think that there is a spectrum of MPs. With varying degrees of recognition of the serious situation the country is in, varying degrees of recognition that we need action, not slogans, that we need cooperation with the provinces, that we need to come together and work together. Then those individuals face their own decisions about how they can best support that agenda.
They're Conservative MPs.
He's obviously, there's obviously a concerted effort to recruit, to bribe Conservatives to cross the floor. This has been ongoing for a long time. Everybody knows this. You notice how Rosemary Barton, I don't know if this is even intentional or it's just her bias, her own bias. But let's listen to this at the start again.
You would not accept into the Liberal caucus.
Look, if people come to me, I make a judgment.
Someone
about
who is
the fit.
pro-life or anti-trans, would you accept that person into?
Yeah. So are there Conservatives that you wouldn't accept, because Conservatives are bad, right? There's ones who have really bad beliefs like pro-life or anti-trans. Anti-trans. Those words are just leftist propaganda. Like I might say, I'm for banning medical experiments on children. So she could say that. She could say, would you accept a Conservative who wants to ban medical experiments on children, for instance, right? But it's just anti-trans because they're bad, right? So I don't know if it's intentional framing or if it's just a product of just her own, baked in bias. But it's a sort of, it's the insidious normalization of what really should just be unthinkable. Like medical gender experiments on children should be unthinkable, right? It should be. But as you can see, I mean, she does half his work for him, and it's just everything that they do, right? It's just understood these things, these conservative things are bad.
I mean, we're in multiple hypotheticals. It's not a.
So is that a no?
It's a neither. It's a non-answer to a.
Is there an active
question.
recruitment of MPs from other parties happening?
I think that there is a spectrum of MPs with very.
But she asked if there's an active campaign, right? And you're not answering that question.
Degrees of recognition of the serious situation the country is in. Varying degrees of recognition that we need action, not slogans, that we need cooperation with the provinces, that we need to come together and work together. Then those individuals face their own decisions about how they can best support that agenda.
They're conservative.
Yeah, if that had been Pierre Poilievre she was talking to, she would have interrupted him 15 times during that. So we learned nothing, obviously. He doesn't answer the question. They're obviously actively recruiting. Bribing. And it won't just be the Conservatives. They'll be trying to bribe the other MPs from the other parties as well, obviously. But, he can sit down with Rosemary. He's not going to get too much pushback or any at all, and it's all well and good. And she gets to frame Conservatives negatively, of course. Whether she realizes she's doing it or not, who knows at this point? I mean, I think she's obviously extremely biased. And that's, this is what you get for $1.5 billion in funding. You get this. All right. Now for some good news, for some white pill news here, right? Polling. Polling is turning. Now, if the Liberals get one more floor crosser, if they manage to bribe one more MP from any party, it's all over. I mean, Canada will be so screwed in such a hole. Mark Carney will have been able to max out the national credit card by then. The debt will be just completely, it's already unmanageable, but it will be completely unmanageable by that point. They'll be talking about IMF bailouts for Canada if he does a full term. But maybe it won't happen. Carney's not looking good with this Michael Ma thing is looking very bad. There are even Liberals that are saying, yeah, this is not something's fishy about this. Especially crowing about it the way that they have been. It's not a good look. It's not a good look when you have people protesting outside of his office constituency office, Michael Ma, that are angry that he betrayed them. Voters. Mark Dalton, MP, it's neck and neck between the Conservatives and Liberals, with some polls showing one party ahead and the other showing the Liberals. Well, here's the latest Ipsos poll modeled out by Sheree Teest. Conservatives, 151 seats. Liberals, 142 seats. Bloc, 41 seats. I'd be plus 19. Well, I think the Quebec's not that happy with Carney. Let's see. Federal polling shows the Liberals and Conservatives neck and neck. Abacus. So 41 and 41. New Democrats, 9, starting to recover a little bit. Now, as for the media campaign, the mainstream media campaign to get rid of Pierre Poilievre, and to me, it's very, very transparent that they're afraid of him because his support in the polls, the Conservative support, has not fallen. It's right where it was at the election. So that's a worry for the Liberals, because if some of that NDP vote, and it looks like it's happening, that NDP vote that went over and consolidated with the Liberals to defeat the Conservatives, if that starts going back to the NDP again, Liberals are screwed. How would Canadians vote with different Conservative leaders? Pierre Poilievre, 38%. Stephen Harper, 34%. Doug Ford, 31%. Kenny, 30%. So Pierre Poilievre is the leader. He's very popular with Conservative voters. CPC +2. That would be the Conservative Party winning, up 2 points. So that's why that's why we see the tsunami of media attacks on Pierre Poilievre. They want him out. They want him out. They want somebody else who will be less effective. And I think it's transparently so, right? That's the constant attacks. It's like they're not in. If you look at the polling, right? The polling is the reality, not the spin that you see on the CBC that's working to preserve their liberal paymasters. From Jinglai Hay, the latest Abacus data poll has Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives. The latest Abacus data poll has Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives leading among every age group except for the boomers. So 18 to 29, CPC +1. 30 to 44, CPC +17. 45 to 59, CPC +10. 60 plus, Liberals 22. So we've been sold down the river by liberal boomers, and that's just the liberal boomers. There's lots of awesome boomers in Canada, right? But the liberal boomers just don't give a shit about everybody else. They don't care about their own grandkids. They don't care about their great-grandkids. Could not care less. They're interested in preserving the equity in their house by importing as many Somalians as possible into Canada, and they don't care. They just don't care what happens to everybody else. And it's disgusting, and it's gross. And I think that young Canadians have every right to be extremely angry at them because they're selling them out. They are mortgaging their future for themselves to make themselves a bit more comfortable in the last years of their life. This is the opposite of, old men planting trees, the shade of which they'll never know, for the younger generations paying it for it. It's the opposite of that. These are the people who insisted that 5-year-olds have to get the jab so that they could feel slightly safer. Just think about that. Think of how sick that is. Just think of how sick that is. That young children should be exposed to the risk of a novel medical treatment that has no long-term studies. Children who don't need it should be exposed to it so that liberal boomers can feel slightly safer in the last years of their life. They'd rather a culture that sacrifices the young for the old is doomed. That's sick. That's how I feel about it. New Main Street poll from December 16th. Conservatives 42.3%, Liberals 41.3%. This is why they want Polyev out. This is why they keep attacking him and saying, oh, he's a bad leader and blah, 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 and his tone and blah. They don't have any suggestions of what he should do. They just don't want him. They know he's a threat. Latest Main Street poll modeled out. Conservatives, 173 seats. That's the majority, folks. Liberals, 139 seats. I think that they missed a big opportunity when they had the chance to bring down the government on the budget vote, the block amendment to the budget, and they didn't. I think it was a big mistake. I think that there is going to be another floor crosser from somewhere, and then that's it. We're just stuck with it. We're just stuck with Carney until he's ready, until the next scheduled election. And by that point, I mean, the country's completely screwed, right? All right, let's move on. We are getting close to the end here. Let's go back to the chat for a second. And for people watching on YouTube, Rumble people, don't worry about this. The new channel, second channel on YouTube, Radio Baloney News, featured channel on this homepage of this channel. This is where you're going to get now all of the world news, US news, UK, meme reviews, all these wonderful videos here. Meme review, we got Tom Homan, Woke Teacher Trolled, Aussie PM, Blabe's Far Right, all of that stuff. You're going to have to go to Radio Baloney News to get that from now on. Please help me out. The algorithm hates me. It hates you. Don't let them win. Subscribe to the channel. All right. Spambot says, Abacus is proof that boomers 60 plus not only need to take driver testing to keep their license, they need cognitive tests to keep voting rights. It's liberal boomers. There's a lot of great boomers, but yeah, I mean, it's weird, right? It's like the Tesla protest. That was like the seniors crusade, the boomers crusade. It was all old people. They're up protesting Elon Musk at the Tesla dealerships and stuff. It's weird. I think they are the people that are most obviously, they're the only people that are plugged in. I'm talking about leftist boomers, the only people whose brains are directly plugged into, MS Now, CNN, CBC, BBC. Nobody else's brains are plugged directly into that. Theirs are. And as those networks have become more and more deranged, these leftist boomers have become more deranged with them. That's the only explanation. Nobody else pays attention to it. So that's the only thing that makes sense. And you see plus 22 liberals in Canada, that ain't normal. G Flood, how you doing, G Flood? Says, would old men extend credit, the interest of which they will never know? Yeah, it's a sick society. I just can't imagine being an old man who's had a good life, who wants to sacrifice children for my own comfort for a little bit longer, right? I don't know. That's just, it seems so sick and depraved to me. I mean, they should be so ashamed of themselves. But I guess you just have somebody who does that has no shame, I guess. JJ Nevada says, darn Commie Carney will put us all to sleep. He'll probably make us all get made. Medical assistants and dying. He'll say that we're depressed, and then the RCMP pick us up and medical assistants and dying us. Trudeau Survivor says, it's odd how opposing abortion became a conservative exclusive position. The Clinton-era Democrats were safe, legal, and rare. At least they had a modicum of restraint. Yeah, those days are long over now. In Canada, there's no restriction right up to birth. If you can find a doctor to do it, there's no restriction. It's been that way since the 70s. A lot of Canadians don't know that. Let's see. Let's go back a little more. Oh, we lost Rosie. Got to go to sleep. Good night, Rosie, if you're still there. See you on Sunday. All right. What do we got going on here? All right, Danielle Smith. She says women and girls have the right to play competitive sports in a safe and fair environment against other biological females. Geez, it just makes so much sense when you read it out. This view is held by a vast majority of Albertans and Canadians. It is also common sense and common decency, which is why the Liberals are against it. Skate Canada's refusal to hold events in Alberta because we choose to protect women and girls in sport is disgraceful. Yes, that's the correct language. This is what we need. We need more Danielle Smiths. Disgraceful. That is the correct language. We expect they will apologize and adjust their policies once they realize they are not only compromising the fairness and safety of their athletes, but are also offside with the international community, including the International Olympic Committee, which is moving in the same direction as Alberta. Well, they had a big problem when they had that fella beating the crap out of all the female boxers, right? So, yeah, they've changed their tune on that as well. Premier response to Skate Canada's failure to ensure fairness for female athletes. This is the right language. That's reality. That's it. Keep doing this. We need more Danielle Smiths. More people with just some courage, right? All right. Here we go. We're at the end. Let's go through this stuff. A bunch of palate cleansers and just general weird stuff. Let's check it out. Maybe I'll do another ad. I don't know. Let's see what's going on. Chicago Steak Company. That sounds pretty good. Let's try that out. Oh, that's weird. Let me do it. What's going on here? All right, let's try it again. Chicago Steak Company. Let's go. Look, if you're still scrambling for a Christmas gift, you need to hear this. Our friends at Chicago Steak Company extended free shipping for Christmas delivery, but their warehouse just told us they're down to the last few slots. mychicagosteak.com/rumble, code rumble. That's where you want to go, folks. mychicagosteak.com/rumble. Gift your loved ones the top 2% of beef in America. USDA Prime and Premium Angus, hand cut by master butchers, and they're the best kind. Marbling so good, when it hits the pan, the whole house fills with the sound and smell of buttery meat goodness, which is the best kind of goodness. Everybody knows it's the call to the kitchen for everyone. Spend $229 and they'll throw in 6 free ribeyes plus free shipping. $240 in premium steak on the house. What? That's crazy. I can't even believe it, but I sure love steak. Your gift shows up in a black and gold box packed with dry ice. That is awesome. They crack it open, vapor rolls out, instant Christmas morning vibes. Give them something they'll ask for next year, and they will. Oh, they will. Don't wait on this. The warehouse is on the line. mychicagosteak.com/rumble. That's mychicagosteak.com/rumble. Code rumble. That's RUMBLE. You know what to do. Gorgeous ad read right there. Everybody loved that ad read. All right. So what's going on here? This is crazy. I don't know. Is this AI? Do we even, who knows what's not AI anymore? But I don't think it is. I think it's real. Oh, no. Slow down. Oh. Holy shnikes, that guy was lucky. That's real. That's definitely real. This one, we have to wait till Monday. This one here, I think this is AI. So let's take a look.
It too close to that truck.
I know. I'm backing off.
Oh my God, it's moving.
Are you okay? Are you?
So that log would have taken the roof off the car and killed everybody inside. Guaranteed. There's no way that it's just doing that. That's just no. Absolutely not there. Moving. No, it's just that. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to say it. I haven't checked, but there's no way that that's real. Hold on.
It's a total fabrication.
Yes, that's right. Number one, it is a total fabrication. There is no way. Car must not have brakes. Let's see. The log bouncing off the windshield like that. Sure. That's AI. Yeah. The log would have taken the roof off that car. Everybody would have died. That's not real. Not buying it. Hold on a second. Let's see. Huge father W. Can't wait to be a dad and also handle matters like this. So I guess this kid's coming in, he's crying. His brother did something to him. So let's see. What's the solution here? Oh, no.
Listen, Henry. Go get Brandon. Okay.
Every parent should know a true story about the
Oh. I don't know. Is that good parenting or bad parenting? I don't know. Let's see. If you guys haven't heard this, let's see. So this was during a Philadelphia Flyers game, and I guess it was a hot mic. They didn't realize it. Let's take a listen.
And they're playing from behind. Now they're going to take the TV timeout. We'll take it as well. 7 gone in the third. It's 3-2 Buffalo on the Philadelphia Flyers broadcast network. Pump it up. While you're down there, would you mind blowing me?
I think we're still on the air, Tim. No, we're not, are we?
And they're playing for.
Can we just have a bit of grace as a civilization, as a society? I just say, that guy just cracked a joke. They probably fired this guy. Say anything underneath? They probably fired him. Always assume a mic is hot. Let's see. That's not that bad. Kind of funny. People are so soft. They probably fired him for that. I don't know if they did. I don't want to check it out. I don't want to see. I don't want to find out if they did. But, just have enough grace. Say, the guy cracked a joke, for God's sakes. Come on. You don't have to ruin people's lives. Let's see. Apparently, so this Nick Reiner, who murdered his dad and his mom, Rob Reiner and his mother, schizophrenia, drug addiction, was under psychiatric care in the weeks before the stabbings. Yeah. So I was saying, some sort of maybe drug-induced psychotic break, I don't know. Awful, though. Horrible. Let's see. What? WTF. I don't know who this is. Is this Lizzo? I don't know. We're not going to play the sound, though. But is she farting that? Is this real? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just glad I have that button. Just have it. I'm just glad we brought it out the last couple of streams. It's fun. Let's see. Elon Musk reposted this 100%, he said. And this clip was, so Elon Musk, the amount of indoctrination that's happening in schools and universities is far beyond what parents realize. So this was from April 28th, 2023. But let's take a look.
The amount of indoctrination that's happening in schools and universities is, I think, far beyond what parents realize. Let me give you an example that a friend of mine told me, which his daughters go to high school in the Bay Area, and he was asking them, like, who are the first few presidents of the United States? They could name Washington, and I said, well, what do you know about him? Well, he was a slave owner. What else?
Right. Exactly.
Nothing.
Right.
Like, okay, that's maybe you should know more than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Slavery is obviously a horrific institution, but we should still know more about George Washington than that. The amount of indoctrination that's happening.
And it's all totally intentional. It's all completely intentional, right? You have, the educator culture is total Marxism, right? And they want to bring down society, burn it down so they can build their utopia on top. And truth and reality is only a hindrance to that, right? Like teaching them that, for instance, slavery was endemic everywhere. In fact, it was the British Empire that was the first empire to ban it. The British Empire was instrumental in ending global slavery. But they don't want to teach that because then you wouldn't hate yourself. I think that's it. That's it. That's all we've got. All right. That's all we've got. I thought we had more, but we don't. And that's okay because I'm tired and we've already been going 3 hours and 10 minutes. All right. Yeah, we're done. All right, everybody. So let's see. Trudeau Survivor says blowjob jokes deserve the death penalty. Mass murderers on beaches deserve understanding and compassion. Well, it wasn't Islamists' fault what happened in Bondi Beach. It was the far right somehow. Somehow, according to the Australian Prime Minister. Somehow it was their fault. Yeah, total lunacy. Let's see. Nevada, of course. It's an ongoing theme in the chat. Wants Greenland. I just want Greenland, he says. One day he'll get it, I hope. One day he'll get it. Just try. Believe in yourself. Nevada says, some commies just have to show you who they really are. Well, it's true. They always have to do that. They need you to know. All right. Well, I guess that's it, folks. I guess that's it. My apologies if I was not as energetic as normal tonight, but I don't know. I mean, I thought I started strongly, but then I noticed my energy was flagging, and I don't know why. Sometimes it just happens. Maybe it's Christmas. But in any case, thanks for hanging in there with me, you guys, and thanks for showing up because it would be pretty boring. It would be way worse if you guys weren't here. I will be back on Sunday, 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern. We will be back on Monday with a premium stream, and we'll be back on Tuesday, and then we'll be back on Boxing Day night as well. But hope to see everybody on Sunday, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern, and I'll try and have more coffee before we get started. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. And Trudeau Survivor says, show's over. Get the fuck out. Trudeau Survivor says, that's all. Bye-bye. Show's over. Get the fuck out. Get off my land. All right. That's the best way to end this. Show's over. Get the fuck out. All right. On that note, everybody have a great weekend. I'm going to find out what happened now to in that Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua fight, although I think I already know. All right. Good night, everyone. Great weekend, and we'll see you Sunday.